sorry.
No, you're good. All right, Stephanie.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. I'm glad you could see me now.
Yes. We're 2020 vision right now.
First guest
Crystal
to
clear.
need their glasses cleaned.
I'm so sorry.
Was decided. I don't even need them for this.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna do it. I was gonna do it without it if we couldn't figure it out. So, but thank you for being prepared in your beautiful podcast studio.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
is
Yeah,
beautiful.
welcome.
you.
Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Haven't had many comedians on, maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Always liked comedians. I used to do comedy shows
Oh yeah.
at my old house. And
very
we'd
cool.
film them, and I wanted to get more into it, but between the time of doing it with bands, I was mostly working with artist bands,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to do it with comedians, it got to, I would need another person to kind of,
Yeah.
help out with that,
Yeah.
because comedians are insane.
Yeah. I know. This is a good starter level with me, I think. I don't think I'm too insane, so I think you picked a good...
Well, I mean, if you're
Beginner.
a comedian and then
Yeah.
you're moving to Austin, you're
That is
ready.
insane.
That is insane.
It is insane.
For a craft,
and
for an
I
art
feel it.
craft.
Yeah.
Like, that's a...
Yeah. It's
It's
really...
not like, I'm going for like this big $1 million job. Whatever.
Yeah.
A big 6-figure
Ins-
salary with 401k. You know what I mean?
Someone asked my dad, like, oh, why is Stephanie moving to Austin? Does she have like a job opportunity? He goes, she's hopeful for one. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm truly just moving. I have no set date of when I'm moving down, but I'm being summoned to Austin by my boyfriend and our other best friend, and then just trying to do something other than Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you enjoyed the art scene, specifically the comedy scene in Chicago?
I love the comedy scene in Chicago. I truly feel like it's like my home. I feel like I was able to excel pretty quickly in the scene.
Real quick, are you from Chicago? Or
The suburbs. Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Suburbs of Chicago. I went to DePaul, so I got to like be in the city for a little bit, but then COVID hit, and then I started doing comedy, and I came back to the city.
Okay.
So yeah, what was the question? Yeah, I love the scene. I love the scene. I love Chicago as a city by itself. So leaving it is going to be very, very difficult for me to actually. That's why I go. It's like Stephanie's moving, like allegedly. Like we don't know yet for sure. Everyone in the scene is like, I thought you were moving. I thought you were gonna move. And I go, yeah, we'll see. All right, maybe.
It's hard to leave. It's a great city.
It's a gorgeous city, especially
And-
compared to Austin.
Oh, as far as I've never been to Austin. I've been to Dallas a lot. Never been to Austin. So
Austin, just like you
don't seem happy about moving.
I know. Everyone I talk to is like, "Girl, don't go. Like, what are you doing?"
You're like, ugh, Austin.
It's just because we're so spoiled in Chicago with the food and the architecture and just like the landscape alone. And I think the Midwest vibe is very much my vibe. So
Yeah.
like someone from a comic from New York was just like, "You're very Midwestern," and I'm like, "Thank you, thank you." Yeah, I'm not an asshole. I don't. What do you mean? Yeah, I'm Midwestern.
People get mad at it.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
because they're like, why aren't you like just bitter and jaded and why are you so hospitable? I don't know, just because we're fine. And that's the big thing about the Chicago scene is we are a very hospitable scene. When people come in from, at least the way I treat people, when people come in from New York, from LA, like wherever, we're always like, yes, come do our show. Come, like, we'd love to have you, because it's like we're Chicago and we're a big city, we're a big comedy city, but we're not like industry. We don't really get to, there's a ceiling in Chicago, which is why people leave, which is why
is
go
there
to
a ceiling? It's big enough and has a rich history of comedians, comedic actors, comedy movies. Like some of the big, like the 80s and 90s comedy movies,
it was all
here.
about Chicago. I know.
It's a huge scene, and it's what got me so into loving comedy, was growing up around this. And so it makes no sense that it can't, because like Austin wasn't 5 years ago.
I know. We need someone to move.
You just need more people a
Yeah.
group of people to go and start doing it that have established things.
And there are like some comics in the scene who are some of the funniest in the scene who are like choosing to stay here because they're like, no, we just need to make, and I mean, among probably financial reasons and a bunch of other things, but they are like, we just need to make Chicago a scene, like an actual scene of like strong talent, and hopefully one day then industry like will follow or come here for us.
It will. I mean, Hollywood already did. They have studios here. There's studios on the South Side, a lot of movies. So
that is true.
And a lot of comedy and performing goes hand in hand with that. There's a lot of people who will go into shows, going to do TV, going to do whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's something to do.
There is something, but for comedy, I feel like there is a limit. And it's like you can stay in Chicago and get paid. We get paid for as comics in Chicago, I think more than you get paid. Like on a casual, like local level, we get paid more here than local comics do in New York or Texas or LA. As far as I've heard, like people are always like, "Oh yeah, Chicago, you're really good about paying your comics." I'm like, "Yeah, because that's all that. There's no otherwise. There's no incentive to do a show if you're not getting paid because there's no one's there to watch you. There's no scouting talent. There's nothing. So it's like you're either doing it because you absolutely love it, or because you absolutely love it and you're getting paid, and then you can go do it somewhere else and then not get paid for another 5 years and then finally, you know, break or whatever. So, but with that being, I love Chicago. I love it. It's a big comedy playground. That's what I think found it to be.
Yeah.
It's like you can go up whenever you want. You can go to so many open mics in one night in a whole week, and like I said, we're hospitable. So you kind of like, especially like for women in the scene, there's a lot of us, but there's also not a lot of us, especially in terms of ratio to the men. So it's like we all get an opportunity, and which is good because it's good for our growth. But it's also, I mean, I can get into the whole.
Get into it.
Well, being a woman in comedy,
I didn't. Yeah, tell us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for not bringing it up and asking me what's it like to be a woman in comedy. But like in terms of Chicago, we all get a turn. We all. It's basically like we're all in rotation for shows because they need a woman on a show, which is cool because it's like that's a great incentive and like a inclusion initiative or whatever you want to call it. But with that being said, it also is like the reason why I have imposter syndrome, and it's the reason why I feel invalidated when I'm sometimes asked to do a show because I see. I call it like vagina fluffing.
Yeah.
Like you just need a vagina on the lineup. Like you need to fluff the lineup with a vagina. Because if you don't, you're going to look like a bad producer, or you're going to look like someone who's like out of touch, or someone who doesn't think women are funny, God forbid.
Yeah.
And so it's like I go, oh, do you need me on a show or do you want me on a show? And that's like a very fine line that I draw because I care a lot about comedy and I care a lot about like if someone actually like needs me or wants me. I think sometimes in Chicago, the women in the scene kind of overlook that and they're like, well, I'm just going to take advantage of it and get on a show. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. But like, don't help perpetuate the stereotype that women aren't funny if you're not ready to do a show.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're not a lot of. I don't know. You gotta be careful how you say this.
I know, that's why I was like the whole way through.
You're a woman. I mean,
I know. I can say it. I'm a woman.
You definitely
I know
can.
women.
You definitely can. I mean, you're the one experiencing it, not me.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's like. I try to think of it from the perspective that you're talking about because I put on a lot of stuff. I mean, tend to be in charge of a lot of things, decision making.
Well, I was looking at your profile. I was like, oh, he's got a lot of like women singers and artists on your profile, and I was like, interesting. Like, and I didn't know. I don't know you. I don't know what your real intention is behind that, if you truly appreciate them or whatever. But I did notice you do have you're showcasing a lot of like female talent, which is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have never. It's weird because I took everything I was told literally. A little bit of a purist. So when my mom or the women in my life were like, be nice and respectful and like get consent and like don't be pushy and like in every way. Yeah. From romantic stuff to platonic things to professional to education. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And I took it very literally. It did not work out well. Yeah. It's because that's not how the world works. No. Sadly.
I know.
And
you
it didn't.
Be kind of an asshole sometimes.
Yeah. So dating was not good because of that. Everyone thought it was gay or asexual. Because I was like, being very, 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 very nice.
She's like, he hasn't made a move on me. Like, why?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I didn't realize I could do that.
Yeah. I was told you got to like help me do it and then I will.
Yeah. No.
So I did that and then it never happened ever. Yeah. And. What?
It's just so unfortunate that it's like you really have to read between the lines in every situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the same thing with music and art. It was like, because I was like that, and then I also took something to heart. My mom and dad told me when I was young, most of my mom, to not date your friends, keep all that stuff separately. So I started having a large friend group because of the fest and the studio and a lot of roommates, and there was a lot of women around, but I instantly would like friend. Yeah. But no matter what, I don't care what you look like.
You're out here friend zoning.
Everyone's friend zone.
Yeah.
Guy, girl, old, young, tall, small, I don't care. You're all friends. anyone I want to date is like a separate thing I do privately over there, which was very smart because I've never had any issues.
No, that's so. Oh my gosh, I wish I could say the same thing.
Yeah, I would probably be screwed a million times over if I didn't do that. I wouldn't be here having this conversation. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because enough things can get distorted, even if you are good, if you keep playing around in your world.
Things get messy no matter what.
Yeah. So because I always kept it separate, I just would judge things on a meritocracy. Like man, woman, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. Music's great. You're trying, you're doing your thing, you're playing shows, you're part of the community. You're playing shows with my friends. People say nice things about you when you're not around.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I learned a long time ago, like sexuality, your gender, none of it is can you do the thing that you're here to do? Like what you were saying about comedy.
Right, yeah.
So that's why you'll see all kinds of people on there. And as I got older, it started off with more guys at first because I was 19 with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
But as I got more skill and older and more notoriety, I was able to just branch out to whoever.
Yes.
And so I did. But it takes time sometimes. You have a starting point. No one tells you how to like do your own thing and get everyone involved and be inclusive. Yeah. But it wasn't that hard. It's kind of a natural thing when you actually separate stuff.
Yeah.
You look at it that way and you just look at it based on skill.
Yeah.
And again, I really judge it based on like people and their person. Are they nice people? Because the worst thing I want to do is chase someone who's like popular or famous and they suck to be around. They're not nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like just biting my tongue on how I feel about them as they're saying rude things or they're like really harsh to maybe I have an intern here or a friend and they're just like dicks.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with that person,
Yeah.
So yeah, getting women involved has not been hard and I don't understand how I don't even know how to talk about it because it seems so dumb to have to articulate.
Right, you're like, I don't even have to think about it.
I don't know. It's just they're really good at what they do. I like their music. They have a great voice. Whatever it is.
Yes, and now you've figured out how to just DM someone and lure them into their basement. I'm here. I did that. That's all it took. Isn't that sad? Isn't that crazy? That's also a comedy thing where you're just ask me. I'll be there. Sure. It doesn't matter where.
There's one caveat to that where I feel comfortable doing that. You can just Google me and find a lot of stuff.
That's what I did.
Pretty smart. And you should.
Yeah.
Whenever someone, especially women to men, but everyone should Google everyone.
Yes.
There are wild, crazy women too.
Yes.
It manifests in a different way.
Yeah.
But they're still there, believe me.
Yeah.
So you just Google people.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you to do it, just I hope that people do. Like,
right.
I've had people, last week I had a younger artist, her dad came. He didn't stay, but he wanted to meet me.
That's
I was
smart.
like, sure.
Good for him.
Come on in.
Yeah.
I'll show you my whole, I don't care.
Yeah.
Your daughter's just a great artist.
Yeah.
Like,
So cool.
So, yeah, I get it. I'm not, whenever it's happened a lot where women will come in and they'll bring like a friend, their mom, a boyfriend. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I was like, maybe I should. And then I was like, no, I've done worse and dumber things alone. I'm sure this will be fine. This is fine. This isn't as south as I've been, so, and I've done, when I was like a year in, I went very south side to two like rappers that I had just met at a show. And they're like, come do my podcast. I was like, sure. And it was the area was rough. It was rough, but I trusted them for whatever. They had daughters too, so I'm like, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. I let my brother know. I gave him my location, whatever. Not that he would he'd be like, no, I'm sending the police. I'm not coming down there to save you. So, but it was fine. And so I'm like, yeah, it'll be okay. I've said no to people before too. Like I've definitely.
Thanks. I feel flattered.
Yeah. Like, he's got enough women on his Instagram page coming down to his basement already, so that's fine.
This basement. I'm trying to make it easy to find out that it's fine. You can also look at the backlog of the other 90 podcasts with all types of people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of validity, so it's not that hard. You can Google my academic. I teach at a university.
Yeah, you said professor. I'm like, he's chill.
Yeah, there's a lot. They already did the background check.
Yeah,
believe you me, I'm good.
Yeah.
I was like nervous. I was like, what did I do my whole life? Whenever you get like a serious background check, like you, even if you're clean, you're like
there. Something happened. Something
a
happened, and I forgot about
that
it.
One time in the forest with my friends.
Yeah.
We blew up some spray cans.
Right.
It says it's illegal on the back of it. They're gonna get me.
They wrote that down somewhere.
That's literally how guilty I feel.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that time we blew up spray cans.
Yeah, you're like, I'm canned. I'm never gonna.
Could you imagine
be able to work again?
Like, sorry, you can't. We saw that. You like, how would they know that? Anyway, that's funny. You're the first woman to bring up everything you just brought up.
Really?
Yeah. Like, pretty funny, actually. Wow. On mic, people maybe have talked about it off mic, but you're just like, You're a comedian.
I'll say it.
No.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying what I think. I don't know. I don't know, but I do feel comcomfortable here. I walked in
good.
and it's very nice. It's very neat and tidy.
I promise I'm not asexual.
I was like, yeah, sure. I'm like, this is a very
That
clean
doesn't help
apartment
either.
for a
I've always
straight
been
man.
very neat, as organized as
Yeah.
I can be. Well, again, my mom, we didn't have a lot of money, and she was like, you could still be clean. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost
Oh my
money to be
gosh.
like clean your dishes
Yeah.
and like wash your clothes. It doesn't cost that much to just have what you have and keep it tidy,
Yes.
regardless of what it looks like or
Yeah,
where you're located.
take care of your things.
Take care of your things. So from a small scale with nothing to anything big, take care of it. And yeah, I don't know. I could see how it's weird. I'm glad I have a lot more to show random people. I just reach out in the
Yeah.
dark. Yeah, it makes
It's okay.
it easier.
Well,
but-
for me, you wouldn't have needed much. I've done, like I said, the qualifications are low, but this is good.
do you or your peers have podcasts?
No. I mean, yeah, if I go past my extended peers,
Okay.
absolutely, because comics and some of my close friends had podcasts, but of course, I mean, it's tough to keep a podcast going. And even they were funny podcasts, they were consistent, but time just weighs on you.
Time, if you don't feel like a lot of growth,
yeah.
if you're not willing to keep doing it regardless of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just for fun to promote people
Yeah.
and like meet interesting people.
Yeah.
I learn a lot and
It is a great way to network.
yeah.
Come do my podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. That benefits both of us. I don't have to just talk to you at a coffee shop for no reason, Isn't that sad though? I'm like if you asked me to just pick my brain at a coffee shop, I'd be like, maybe, yeah. Well, probably I'm a little busy this week, but isn't that crazy? I'm like, oh, I can talk into a microphone and tell you about whatever you want to know. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. And there's a camera recording, and it'll be online.
Way
of
worse.
course.
Way
Isn't
worse.
that crazy?
Way worse things can happen from this.
Yeah, I know.
This is like legit high quality documentation.
I know.
And I don't edit anything.
Isn't that? But I'll say yes to it instead.
I
instead
know,
of just a
right?
private conversation with you.
Were you always like that? I think that's a modern internet.
Yeah, it's like
age
you
thing.
have to do it.
Yeah.
Like you have to think that way, or it's right. Like if it's not documented, then it didn't happen, which is sad. I was thinking about this on the way over about how before I started comedy, I had 100 followers on Instagram. Like I would remove you on my social media if I saw you in person and you didn't say hi to me. Like if I knew you from high school, even right after high school, if I graduated and we were at the store or something, I don't know, if we were at a social event and you didn't come up to us, I'd be like, well then we're not friends. We're not actual friends.
Wow, petty.
I know, but also I didn't care because I was
Yeah.
like, if you don't care about me in real life, then I'm not going to care about you online, and
No,
you don't care
you have
about
a
me
point.
online.
Yeah, you have a point.
And so I'd never cared to document anything. My Instagram, I mean, especially at the time, I mean, I think even before really 2020, Instagram didn't have as much of an impact. A lot of social media didn't have as much of an impact as it does now, especially for comedy. But I didn't care. I did not care about Instagram, about posting, about letting people know about what was going on online. I was pretty minimal of what I would share and who I cared to even follow or be followed by. So, but now it's follow me.
Yeah.
And also I don't have very many. I have 5,000 followers, which really is not that many in terms of the big picture of what you actually need on Instagram or social media for people to care about you. But they don't.
There was a lot behind. There was so much weight behind that. You looked off into the horizon. You're like, for them to care about you.
They don't care.
It was 10 years of frustration in that.
Well, they don't because it's crazy. It's so.
I'm right there.
Yeah,
I get it.
You've
been doing this forever.
Yeah. And
there.
you need people to follow you, to have clubs and other venues to care about you. But that doesn't even ensure ticket sales. And it shows because I ask comedy, they do they're doing if I did a Stephanie Robertson and Friends show, and I asked someone because they have 80,000 followers, which is enough, a lot, you would think, but it's not enough to sell tickets. They're still not selling tickets at
80,000.
Yeah,
Holy crap!
people just like to enjoy people online now.
Yeah, they do.
Which is why we're doing this.
Yeah, it
'Cause
is.
you wouldn't care.
No. Yeah,
They wouldn't care.
There's
other
clips
way,
I can
any
cut
other
out
way.
of this, depending on which ones I do, and that's another thing. I relate to you a lot on the not putting out a lot, not promoting a lot. I was very bad at it. It's probably why you and I are where we are with numbers.
Yeah.
Might be 5, 10, 20 times more.
Yes.
Because I didn't get on the promotion train until very recently, and I'm still not good at it. Like I was kicked off Instagram for 4 months in the spring. I didn't do anything wrong. It was I got a new phone and the 2-step verification code didn't transfer, and I was locked out. And you cannot get in.
That sucks.
I mean,
so scary.
Anybody I wish I was a comedian, because the amount of funny stuff I could have got out of 4 months of calling Apple, Meta, and Google, and the phone calls I had, and the amount of times I got kicked off. And I think they like banned me, and they won't answer my phone.
Yeah, they don't care if you live or die.
It was unbelievable. Luckily, I have a friend who's in a band who used to work at Meta. And
you have to know someone.
I knew somebody
to fix your account.
Her old boss is like the lead at Meta for like technology.
Isn't that crazy?
And she texted him, gave him my information, and they fixed it in like it still took a while, but it was like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it worked. And I deleted the 2-step. I was like, I don't care.
No.
I don't want 2-step ever again. It was a mess.
That sucks.
And it screwed me. I wasn't able to promote or book stuff for like months.
Instagram is everything.
It was awful because it's also connected to all my other stuff.
Yeah, your account center.
Yeah, it's like the hub.
Yeah.
And they don't care at all. But I was so bad at it. And sometimes I'm glad I didn't, but sometimes I kick myself. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I didn't because it stays in tune with my integrity, whatever that means. I just didn't want to do it. I felt like I wanted to live in that moment.
Yeah.
The one weird or crazy or funny or illegal thing that happened, there was no one capturing it. I still have that memory. It was a great time. I'm glad I had it. Yeah. But I didn't capture it. And I think of all the wild stuff I used to do, even just setting up and building this festival. If we captured that and put it on the internet, it would get so many views. We just didn't. Because it was stuff, I say that with confidence because it was stuff I've never seen done before.
Yeah.
That's why. Not because it was like, oh my God, so unbelievable.
You have a lot. You've been doing this.
Yeah, we did. I did 10 years for the festival. I'm trying to still do it. It was in my backyard and it got way too big for my backyard. 40 bands.
I was going to say it.
It was 40 bands performing on 2 stages. I built 40 artists selling artwork.
Yeah.
50 volunteers, 4 different restaurants. Red Bull sponsored it. ABC did a special on it. It was really awesome and crazy. And yeah, we did document everything, but no one's really seen the footage. And we're making a documentary about the whole thing right now. We have endless years of footage.
So
we filmed
cool.
all that. But it's not stuff we ever put on the internet or did reels of. We just...
And you gotta do
I would
that.
never even promote it. I would put out the poster like 2 months before and then a couple like photos. Like that's it.
Crazy.
It was just so bad at it. People would get really mad at me.
Yeah.
My friends...
Yeah, as they should. They're good friends if they're getting mad at you.
My logic was, if you want to know about it, come.
Yeah.
And if you come, you'll know about it, and it'll be one of the coolest things you've ever seen in a backyard, customized festival that it's never been done like that before. But
That's so cool.
if you don't know, if you didn't go, you'll never know, and that's your fault.
Yeah.
But that's the way, I don't know. Like, same with comedy. I love going to shows. I've been to the Chicago Theater a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't like comedy in arenas.
No.
I've been to those too. The one at the UIC. It was...
Who'd you see at UIC?
Oh, it was years ago. It was in 2018. It was Andrew Santino.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they were fine. They were great. The
audience sucks.
The audio, the delay.
Yeah.
You can't see their faces. You can't see their gestures. And the stuff that makes comedy funny, like being that close.
Yep.
A theater can work. The Chicago Theater is not too bad. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But the clubs in like 500 and under is the best. When I used to do in my basement, we'd have like 120 short ceilings. It was amazing. The recording sounded good. The crowd sounded so loud. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Do not see comedy.
No.
And it just
I want to
doesn't
ask
work.
someone who's at that level one day to their face, you know that this isn't good.
It's just straight up for
and
money.
you know you're making enough money through the theater circuit.
Yeah.
Because that's why you're at an arena.
Right.
You did too well.
Yeah.
Why don't you dial back, keep making that great money at the theater, and make everyone happy?
Yeah.
All of your fans will love you.
I know.
Because the arena thing,
Sucks.
I don't like it for music. I don't like it for anything.
It's crazy. No, it's crazy that that comedy fans, I'm going to call them comedy fans because I'm like, a real comedy fan will not see you in an arena.
No, I will never do it again.
When I went to an arena, it was actually it's my first show ever. My friend's mom had a Groupon to go see Amy Schumer. And so she was like, my mom's friends like ended up not being able to come. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. Like, I don't care.
Which arena do you remember?
It was Allstate.
Allstate, okay.
Yeah. And we went, and I was so overstimulated by everything. I could not tell you a single joke of hers. I could not tell you, like, all I remember is that she came out in slippers, and that was funny. Whatever. She was like, I chose not to wear heels today. I'm like, great, good for you. But then everybody around me, they kept getting up during the show. They were talking. It was truly like we were at a sporting event. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, I was like, this sucks. This is a terrible way to see comedy. And it didn't feel like comedy. It did not feel like a comedy show.
No, it doesn't.
And so after that, I was like, oh, I'll never do that again. And I've only ever been to the Chicago Theater for that big of a, that size room, and that's it. That's as far as I'll go, because it's so bad. It's terrible. It takes away everything special about comedy.
And you're right. It is like a sporting event.
Yeah.
Same with the concert. If you go to see a concert, it ruins that too. I want to go to a 300-person room where all I hear and see is the band and the music. I don't hear anything else. I don't hear people chatting.
My boyfriend is a huge, huge music fan of like bands and just music in general, and he gets really excited about going to concerts, and he's like invited me to a few, and I've said no, because I'm like, I don't want to just watch them on the screen.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
Center, Allstate,
Soldier Field.
Soldier Field.
That's the last one. I went to the Rolling Stones at Soldier Field. It was fun. I'm glad I went with him. Thanks for the tickets.
Yeah.
But
thanks for the overpriced tickets.
Right. But at the same time, I'm like, but I'm still like, I'm seeing little Mick Jagger just like, I'm like, this isn't that cool.
He's already so thin.
He's so
come
tiny.
on.
I know. He's microscopic at that point.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was, it was still fun. And I can see why people go for concerts at the very least. But I saw Anderson .Paak.
Nice.
At the House of Vans, which I don't know if you know. I don't even know if it exists anymore.
I know about it, yeah.
So small, so intimate. Best concert of my life.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, to see him there is amazing.
Amazing. And it was a free show.
Oh
the House of Vans, they did like free tickets for, I don't know, he must have just been crazy sponsored by Vans or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, this seems like I'm dreaming. Like, how am I getting tickets to see this for free?
Yeah.
And I was so close to him. Like,
when was this?
Before 2020. 2018, 2019.
Oh, he wasn't as popular.
No, he had just put out, I think, Oxnard.
Okay.
And he was
that
like,
makes a little bit more sense.
He was like, he was still like good, but it wasn't like Bruno Mars level, like him.
Like he is now.
Yeah.
I thought this was like recent. I was like,
no.
What?
Oh God, no.
I was like,
wish.
How have I not heard about this?
I know. No.
Okay, so it was back when he wasn't quite blown up yet.
Yeah. But he was still like really good and really popular. And I mean, the place was packed. But yeah, that's like it. That's where I draw the line on it. You can't enjoy comedy or music.
So why do you think they do it? Just money?
Money. There's no way.
But they already have enough money. When you get to that level, you already got the money.
Maybe contracts and obligations and agencies and stuff. I don't know.
They have to know, because I feel like if you come up, like
also,
from the
it's
ground
probably
up,
like a big dick move.
That's true.
Like, you're flexing if you can sell out an arena.
Sure are.
You're flexing on your peers.
But it sounds so cool. You're like, yeah, I sold at the Chicago Theater 10 shows in a row.
You would think, yeah.
And it's like every comedian at that level they already played it, so they know like, that's a dope venue.
And they're like, but 10 times over. Wow.
10 times.
You could have just taken that to arena. He's like, and also
time
though,
then, I guess.
well, exactly. It's time and it's performance. Like, okay, I'm going to perform once and make this amount of money, or I'm going to perform 10 times and make that amount of money.
I wonder what they get at an arena.
I know.
It's got to be over $100,000.
I would hope so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Imagine making a good year salary per show.
Yeah, even not at an arena level, like comedy clubs, like comics that just perform at clubs still, they're making their money. And then they sell merch on top of it. They're set for like the next 6 months if they want to be.
Right. And then a podcast with some ad revenue and stuff.
Yeah. It's like crazy how once you hit that level that you can actually make money doing comedy.
So much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
One of these days, maybe.
I hope one day to meet someone at that level and just be like, sincerely, from a comedy fan, I've been watching it and going to it my whole life and trying to put it on myself. Why go to that level when you can get the podcast stuff and still do theaters and merch and other stuff and get in the movies? You could do all that. Why ruin it for all the people?
I truly think it's just for the sake of it, the credit to say you did.
I would do one then. Be like, okay,
right.
I could do it.
Yeah, I did it.
I did
Check.
one.
Yeah.
I did Dallas Stadium, 90,000. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Call it, yeah.
I don't know.
I'd say the same thing to musicians if I ever met them at that level. Like, why?
Yeah.
When you, like, if you're making that much from streaming to be able to play at the Allstate, then, like, bring it back down. sometimes I'm like, I'm not convinced they went through the trenches.
Maybe.
Sometimes I'm like, because if you did and you went through that whole thing and you had the community, you would know better.
You would think.
On a
I think fame and success really like can rot your brain, or put a filter on your brain where you just kind of can just say, forget that shit.
Yeah, or you're just so mad at the trenches you want to say F you.
No,
to
exactly.
it.
Yeah, because you can sit on your throne then in your big arena and have people watch you on a TV screen live.
It's so bad. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
You said something earlier, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It was a while back. You were talking about
I
women getting
remember.
on stage. Yeah.
Oh, I know about it.
Can you tell?
Trigger word. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that, please?
Imposter syndrome is something I've experienced my whole life. I mean, I feel like everybody does. I feel like I'm not even like that's. I literally am getting imposter syndrome, saying I have imposter syndrome. Hold on. Let me stay focused here and just own it for a second. Yes. So I'm only 3 years into comedy, which is nothing comparatively to anybody else who's been doing it.
Are you how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay.
I started when I was 23. Yes. Is that 4 years?
So right after DePaul, you said?
Yeah, so I call
sense,
my comedy class, as annoying as that is to say, having a class, but I call my like the people that I started with were COVID babies, because we came out in like we started kind of revving our engines up in 2021, early 20. Like I technically started February 2021.
Okay.
And my first open mic was in 2020. There was this weird window of like where bars opened for like
that.
a week in October. It was like in the fall.
That.
Yeah. So everyone was like, no, it's okay, come in. And then immediately got shut down again. So I went to one open mic in October and I did well enough where I was like, I can do that again. You know, I memorized my set, 5-minute set, which was crazy, but that was COVID time. They're like, yeah, come and do a long ass open mic set, which was insane. Did a 5-minute set. It went well enough. So I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep working on something for when it reopens again. And when it reopened again, it was February of 2021. So, but yes. So with that being said, I'm still new. And I think there were a lot of factors at play of how I kind of accelerated quickly in the scene. And because of those factors, it has given me imposter syndrome.
Oh.
On top of being a woman in the scene.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I also it's like maybe if I was a guy, I would be like, well, I'm just playing the game right. You know? And which I feel like I have also done that. I got a really great opportunity in the suburbs to run an incredible venue, which has helped me network with bigger comics who want to come play that room, with more established comics in the scene that want to come play that room.
Which room? What venue?
The Vixen in McHenry.
Okay.
So it basically is as old as I am in comedy. It's been around for the past 3 years. I started with them. They gave me a huge opportunity to start hosting for bigger names when I was literally 4 months in because they didn't know any better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's just right place, right time.
Where I go, oh, this must mean I should be doing this if I'm getting this opportunity like this because. But also, I reached out to this guy that I saw posting on Facebook about how he was going to have a comic in town. And in my head, my middle school brain was like, comedy in McHenry? This doesn't exist. This never has happened before. This is incredible. Like, my big comedy nerd brain was like, oh, it's my neighbors right next door. They're doing comedy, live comedy. So I messaged him on Facebook, and I was like, I will work for free. I will drive them comics to and from the airport. I will help seat. Like, I will help you guys. Like, I'm free labor. Like, just let me in. And he was like, yeah, of course, because they were a brand new establishment and they needed all the help that the volunteering they could get. And so he said yes, and he let me. And then sometimes he like slipped me $100 every now and then. Like, and I was like, cool, this is great. I'm like, I'm getting to meet comics. I'm getting to talk to like people who are doing this. And so I was doing that for a few months, and then on top of starting comedy. And then his wife one day just was like chatting with me. She's like, so what else do you do? And I was at the time working at a 9 to 5. And I had also started going to open mics. And so I told her that. She's like, oh, you do comedy? Well, come host for us. And I was like, no, like you don't want me to host for you. I knew better. I was like 4 or 5 months in. So even a year and I still would have been like, you don't want me to host it. Because these were like real comics coming in. It was a brand new thing that they were starting. I was like, this might ruin things for everybody. I might ruin the show. And I'm sure I did a few times.
Did you tell her that or you were thinking it?
I kind of told her. I was like, do you like want a clip? Like I was kind of like, are you sure? And her husband at the time was kind of having to open the shows with just like announcements and stuff. So like they're like, just go do that, do an announcement, tell a few jokes, but I had like 5 minutes. A bad 5 minutes, but I had a 5 minutes memorized. So I was like kind of playing around with it up there and stuff. So it just started working out. And like I said, it's McHenry. There's no comedy. I was literally the only person willing to do that was like close enough to a comic to be able to do those things. And I understood comedy at that point because I had been watching it for so long, and like I kind of like could just like, I just knew what to do in like the setting of like helping people out in the green room, or like getting the comics water. Being hospitable was a huge thing that like some of the staff just like didn't catch on to. So like when I would know what the comic would look like, and I would wait for them to come through the doors because they didn't have them go through a special entrance or anything. And I would walk up to them and be like, "Hi, my name's Stephanie. Like, come this way. This is where the green room is." And that is like a huge thing apparently that a lot of people comics don't get, is that like welcoming, like this way, right this way type of thing. And I was doing that. So I just like, they really liked me and they thought I did a really good job my first few nights working for them. And so then they just kept me on, and then they let me on stage. So,
but see, to me, it sounds like what you're talking about is deserving, because you took the initiative to even reach out. Who else did?
I know.
You said you'd work for free. Who
Yeah.
else would do that?
Yeah.
A lot of people want to get paid right away. I tell this to young bands and my students that just like want to just get it right away. I'm like, man, that's not the way.
Nope.
You want that? Then go into like chemical engineering. You'll get a job right away.
Right.
Go into finance. You'll get a job right away.
Yeah.
If you're going to go in the arts, you got to go around. You have to circumvent life and go around it. It's a meandering serpentine belt.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You have to do everything almost counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And you got to do a lot of stuff for free. Not all the time, and you should, have some self-worth about it. But when you're young and early 20s, like what you were at the time, just do it. So you did that.
I did that.
Then they asked you to do something. You could have walked away and said, "No, I don't want to do that. I'll just keep doing this." And you said yes to that.
Yeah.
Then you went above and beyond what other people were doing, so people noticed you.
Yeah.
When you go above and beyond in any field, people will notice, even if it's subtle.
Yeah.
As simple as being nice.
I was literally like, right this way. And they're like, whoa. And then I'm like, do you need water? Can I get you something to drink? And they're like, oh my God. And I was like, this is just a natural sense to me to just offer those things when talent comes into the room. And I'm also, like I said, a huge comedy nerd. So I was like, I'll get it. I'll drive to the store and grab you something if you need it. So
that's why it's working a little bit because of that.
With that all being said, the imposter syndrome kicks in when I go, but I'm not funny enough to be doing these things. I'm not funny enough to be opening for, the first guy I got to open for was, his name's Taylor Williamson. He's like on AGT, or he was on AGT. And then his feature, Bobby J. Cox, who's fucking crushing it right now. I just didn't even feel funny enough to like be on a show with them. But they kept letting me do it. So I get but like I said, the stakes were low in McHenry.
Right.
And it was like late 2020, early 2021. And so like COVID was still a thing. So it was just like, that was another thing, is I was then eventually I became a very big fish in a small pond, because it was still 2021. So a lot of the good comics hadn't reemerged yet, like come out of the ground.
Yeah.
And so
like a
there was like, exactly. Because they were still in doing the right thing during COVID, which was not going out and socializing and seeing people and doing shows, which a lot of great comics actually refrained from doing that. And, but in my town of McHenry, like we were wearing masks, we were seating separately, and it was, again, early 2021. So it was like kind of okay. I don't know. McHenry didn't really care. And
didn't really care anywhere but Chicago.
No, exactly though. No, exactly.
I lived in the suburbs. It was different.
Yeah.
Very different from here.
Yeah.
It was nobody cared.
So we were doing those things, and so I was like, wow, like this is great, and I felt like I was doing really well. And then the good comics came out, and I go, oh, this is the Chicago scene. Like they're some really good people. And then those people quickly actually moved to New York. So then it was kind of like this crazy reset in the scene where it was the 2020 babies just like taken off. And we all my friends who are like 2020 babies run great shows, have already like gotten into the Improv, which is the hardest place to get into in Chicago in terms of clubs. Like my friends, I feel like have done really well for themselves. And I don't know if it was the effects of 2020, but it worked out for us.
Whatever it is, all you can do, if you were born rich, if
Yeah.
you got lucky on a viral video and it got you sponsors, if you had your situation, is be aware of it and do something about it, talk about it, and then help rise other people with you. If you got something that was really great and you're like, man, I'm only a couple years in, this is kind of amazing, then help out your peers.
Yeah.
Like, give them a little bit of what they didn't get because you got it instead.
But that's kind of what I have done with the Vixen is like, I book people to like give them like better comics in the scene, more experienced comics in the scene will ask to play that room so they can actually run their 30 before they go run it somewhere important. And I'm like,
somewhere important.
Well, yeah, because it's still McHenry, it's still the Vixen, it's still a local show. It's a free Wednesday night 8 p.m. show, so it's not like stakes are not high there. So they come and I'm like, go do whatever you want on stage. Like I love it. Like go play, go figure it out. And then I let like, younger comics in the scene, like do a 5-minute set there and like feel what it feels like to be in, because we get a decent audience, even on a Wednesday night. It's free. So it's like, we better be getting a decent audience. So like I give like younger comics in the scene now to get up there and do time in front of a real audience. Cause it takes a lot of time, especially I say this all about like being a woman and this and that and this and that. But at the same time, especially in Chicago, like if you're just an average straight white male comic, people don't give a fuck about you. And you're not going to get on a scene or you're not going to get on a show faster than a straight white woman any woman comic really. So like some of these poor white men, man, they are struggling out here because people they're not prioritizing them anymore, which is a fascinating phenomenon to watch. But then that also gives me imposter syndrome because I go, well, they're just as good as me. Why shouldn't they be on a show? And it's like, well, because they're a man and they already have men on that show. So go be the woman and go be on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
I know.
There's a lot of two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
There's a lot of truths to it. You don't want to like do inverse stuff of like sexism and racism in an obvious, overt way.
Yeah.
But you still need to be aware of it. And sometimes it's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
There really are statistically just a lot more white guys going into comedy.
Yes.
So you're just going to have more of that. Same with music. I mean, you see what you just said. I see a lot of at venues in music. There's just a lot more. We're in America.
Yeah.
The people for the longest time here were primarily Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon. Like, that's just the way it was for a long time. Still, statistically, you look at the numbers, minorities are minorities. It's like 10, 20% of the country. Everyone else is white. And half of them are men, and they tend to go into that field. So you're going to have that.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to make it to where it's just like obviously deliberately shutting off people because that's going to have ramifications because there's still a massive portion of the country. Yeah. So they're not going to just disappear.
I know. Yeah.
They're definitely not going to disappear, especially in America. Men don't like to disappear in America.
No.
So it's just being aware of it.
Yeah, and I'm painfully aware of it. I am painfully aware of it.
Were some of the other things you mentioned that you felt like helped you out and you maybe they were too soon or you felt like maybe you weren't deserving of? You said there was a few things that gave you imposter syndrome.
Yes. Running a show or getting opportunities at a venue in front of a real audience with real national touring headliners was one of them.
Yeah.
Getting show opportunities that I think are out of my reach.
Oh, okay.
And being offered them and not even asking for them, not even submitting to them, but I'm getting offered to do them, and I go, why? I see the other people in the lineup. They're much better than me.
Why do you, any reason why you think?
Because I'm a woman.
Oh.
And I'm a decent enough comic to be able to play with the big dogs. But I guess, right? I don't know. That's my problem is maybe, I don't know.
I mean,
sometimes I think my jokes are really good. And then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, stop all of this.
Do you have honest friends that you trust?
Yes, I do.
I do. What do they say?
All of the above.
Wait, all the above what? Like,
good, bad. You're better than some, worse than others. You know, I'm 3 years in, and I think that's a big problem. Is where I'm like still trying to like, because also all of the people I either hang out with are exactly 3 years in with me, or they're 7 years in, maybe almost 10 years in.
Well, what do they say? The people who have more experience can look back and see where you are in your
I don't know.
time.
It varies because it's so subjective, and like
It is. That's why I don't.
I know.
That's why it's hard.
I know.
It's art. It's
and that's
subjective,
why
like-
when I'm offered a show, I just take it. Because what else am I supposed to do? Saying no to it?
Yeah.
Just because I have these imposter syndromes or whatever, just these syndromes in general. And
I think what you're doing is the right thing.
Yeah.
Do it. And then talk about it.
Yeah.
And like reflect
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Talk about it
reflecting.
with yourself, talk about it with your friends,
Yeah.
talk about it on
Yeah.
let the public sphere know
Yeah.
that this is a thing and
Yeah.
we should be aware of it.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
yeah.
That's all you can do. It'd be way worse if you were
It's
not
such-
talking about it and being like, ooh, and keep leaning into
Yeah.
it and be like, ooh, I'm so glad.
There are people that do that in the scene.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
There are a lot of
it's-
people who do that.
It's tough for me to watch and to book them too. I go, girl, knock it off.
I always wonder that
Yeah.
about women.
Yeah, I have a story about it. Kind of.
Please.
I think it's.
Do you know what
really,
I'm about to ask you?
Well, go finish what you're saying.
I think you know. Women who make it in anything,
Mm-hmm.
and they know the tropes that some younger
Mm-hmm.
women who are beautiful might do to get to that same thing, and yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, okay. So it's not even necessarily like in a case of beauty or even youth. Not saying that this person is not beautiful or youthful, but that's not what she was using to her advantage in this situation. It was strictly because she is a woman.
Okay.
So, I hadn't ever booked her for the past 3 years. I've known her 2 years. Never booked her on my show because I wasn't interested in it. And also, I knew some things that she had said and done about my friend that I didn't care for. So I kind of just dismissed her altogether. I go, you're a fine person, whatever. We don't really click. We're not real friends. Like, you're just someone I know in the scene. And I'll book those people in the scene. I'll book them still. But I just dismissed her in my head. That's the honest truth of what happened. It wasn't, it was almost more neutral than it was, like in
A negative thing.
Yeah, a negative thing. And so I get a DM from her and one day, and it's, hi, just a reminder, I would love to do your show and I have a car, so I have no problem like driving other comics and making it out there. I go, perfect DM. Love that. And then she followed up with, unless of course, McHenry is truly like sexist and misogynistic, then just keep booking men and carry on. And I was like, oh my God. I read that and I go, this is exactly why I'm not booking you.
Yeah.
Because you're using the excuse as to why you're not booked is because you're a woman. When in reality, you get booked because you're a woman. And just because I'm not booking you doesn't mean I'm not booking you because you're a woman. I don't even know what I'm saying right now because it gets so like meta and crazy.
It does get meta.
And
Convoluted, meta,
so it's
layered.
so layered, and
Oh my God.
and so she was basically bullying me into, or harassing me, or just being a bitch into getting on my show.
I love when women call a woman bitch.
Come on,
It's my favorite thing.
Don't send me DMs and I like that, and I won't call you
That's
a bitch.
a little passive aggressive.
It was crazy.
It's a little bit.
And so and she was truly like, your lineups are male heavy. They are. Because that's another thing is this venue. Okay. I'm going to say.
You have so much to say.
I have so much to say.
Say it.
I'm going to get in trouble for everything I'm saying on here. But
She's saying it, by the way. I'm just
This is how I
listening.
feel because, so I run a show in McHenry at a venue. Who cares? Who cares? It's not that important. It's a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. It's weekly, okay? Everyone can get a turn. Not a big fucking deal to be on this show. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't. It will do nothing for you. It's good practice the very least. At the very most, it's good practice.
At the very least, it's good people watching.
Yes, it's an audience that sometimes we don't get in Chicago. We really sometimes don't get, especially at like open mic and local level. Sometimes people just don't show up to shows. So I forget that people care to be on a show and at all, just to get shows in their booking and their lists of the month to just be booked on a show. I forget that people care in such a way where they will message me and be like, what the fuck? Why haven't you booked me? And I'm like, I don't know, because you haven't reached out also in a year, because she had reached out. That's another thing. Women in comedy expect to be pursued. same with me. I feel like I don't have to reach out because the people be like, I have to have a woman on a show, so I'll go and ask her.
Mm-hmm.
I will go and ask her. I will go pursue this
Mm-hmm.
comic because she's a woman and I have to have a woman on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So women in the scene in Chicago, I don't know about other scenes, but women in the scene will get asked to do more than they will ask to do.
It's almost like a perfect how would I say it? It's almost just like the reality of like life and dating and stuff.
Yes.
It's
no,
just
it's
like
very much like
yeah.
dating. It's very
Yeah,
much like
that's what
dating.
it sounds like.
You have to ask me, and then I will either say yes or no.
Yeah.
Because I truly am privileged enough to be able to say yes or no to the show.
Yeah.
Whereas most men say yes to every show because they only get one a month.
Yeah.
And so what am I saying? What am I saying with this? So it really rubbed me the wrong way that she was using the fact that she was a woman and she deserves to be on this lineup because there are all these other, like, because it's a male heavy lineup and there should be a woman on it. And that I didn't like. I go, but what about your jokes and do they work for this suburb? Because also comics who can play in the city sometimes cannot play in McHenry, cannot play in the suburbs in general. It's a very, like, your material has to work in both places for me to really be encouraged to want to book you there.
Yeah.
And I have booked women and men. I booked anybody in the scene in Chicago where I'm like, oh my God, they crushed, they killed, their jokes are so funny. They come and do it out in McHenry and they completely bomb.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It happens to me. And so I just was so like, I was like, you are just invalidating women so much by bullying your way onto a lineup because you're a woman. And
yeah.
And that's where I stand on that.
I see. Kind of creating a worse problem than,
well, yeah, because you're like, and that's what gives me my imposter syndrome is like, am I just on this lineup because I'm a woman and you need a woman so you don't look bad for booking an all male lineup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or do you actually want me because I'm a funny comic?
Yeah. Do you hear your other peers, friends, like bring up this, or do they not care?
Only if I bring it up first.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
very
bringing up stuff I
passionate.
don't hear a lot of.
I'm very passionate, and it eats at me.
I could see that,
and and I don't think other women either care or they truly believe that they should just be on the lineup no matter what. Maybe they have less imposter syndrome than I do, or maybe they are more confident in their talent and their abilities, which, oh my God, I wish I could be you. Like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe they do truly believe they deserve to be on a lineup, and they should. Absolutely. You should always absolutely feel like you deserve to be where you are.
Yeah.
But
for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
In the right way. But I don't know. And I think because I feel this way a lot, I have a disconnect with women in the scene.
I could see that.
Yeah. Because it sounds like I'm shitting on them. But I just care I care about comedy so much more than I do about sex and gender and
politics. Yeah.
So
same.
I just don't know how I can't express this to somebody in, just 10 minutes in a green room. No. And they'd be like, shut up, we're about to do a show. Why are you crying right now, Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, I kind of just have to be like, no, we're all good, we're all great, we're all gonna get on shows. And then at the end of the day, that is true.
You're a purist. You want
I'm a purist, yeah.
You want it to be right. You want people to be doing what they're doing because it's fair and they got their meritocracy. Their skill, they put in craft, they put in time, effort, they're nice to be around. Like that's all I want too.
Yeah.
So when it's not that, when people get to skip the line, if you've been in the trenches, no one likes that at all. It's the metric we have across all jobs, everything. It's like seniority, like how long you been here. You could be at a warehouse, how long you been here.
Right.
If it's not 30 years, they don't respect you. Like it's everything's like that. So I could see that being problematic and challenging as a woman doing it.
It is, but it's also so fun. And I've met some of my best friends doing it. So that's so cool and so fun. And I'm so appreciative of that.
What has been, or what was, in your opinion, like your best show? For whatever reason. Could be crowd, your jokes landed, the roar.
Oh my God. Gosh, that's a great question.
The lineup was just great and everyone did well, anything like that.
I had a really fun run of 2 shows back to back one night. It was at House of Blues and then it was at Half Sour in the South Loop at a show called Tight Ship. And I got to do those. Truly, I went to House of Blues and then ran over to Tight Ship.
That's
and
cool.
I felt like I had the best sets ever. And it was in one night on a lot of the times you have a really great set on one show and a really bad set on the next. It's kind of like, oh, that was really great, so I'm about to go bomb at this next show. That's like how people, that's what people say a lot of the time. And I don't know, I just felt so on that night. And then it was also super cool because 2 older comics who hadn't seen me in a while, since I maybe a year and a half from that moment, came up to me and were like, "You've gotten so good. Your jokes are so much better. Like, your confidence is so different from when I first had seen you." So that was a really cool night. And the rooms were packed. They were hot. It was so fun. And I felt really good about that.
That's
night.
awesome. The House of Blues, the main stage House of Blues?
No, God, no. It's the foundation room at the House of Blues.
Yeah.
So more intimate, a little smaller, even though it's kind of a weird setup. It's it's a round and then extends out in a weird way for comedy, but whatever. It is a really cool fun. You feel very cool being at the House of Blues.
It's
no
a
matter
beautiful
what.
place.
Yeah, it's incredible. So yeah, it was probably that, and it was because probably not just because I had a good set and I was getting the laughs I wanted to, but because my older peers complimented me.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best.
And I got work from it too. That one of the guys was like, "Come do this show with me now," and I was like, "Okay."
I love when that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's just a random day you're doing your thing and everything just works out. The right compliments from my people. It gives you a gig.
Yeah, makes you feel like you're doing it's worth it.
It can reduce the imposter syndrome for an hour.
Yes, yeah.
You're kind of floating.
It sedates it for
you get a little natural high. You're like, oh, wow. Yeah. It's addictive. That's why people, when they can keep doing that, you want to keep doing it. What about the biggest crowd you ever played in front of?
Live, in person. That's a good question. Maybe 500 people.
That's solid.
400, in a range to 400 or 500. That's actually at the Vixen, because if we seat the room without tables, we can fit up to
that
5.
big?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you gotten that there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was able to open for someone who had sold out the room.
Who was it?
It was Lynn Koplitz, and she's an older comic. It wasn't that big of a. I mean, it was she was able to sell the room, but that was also during COVID time too.
Okay.
Yeah. Not COVID time. That was actually 2022, I think. But yeah, we can pack that room out. So
500's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. What's
it really doesn't scare me. The size of the I actually prefer more than less.
I do too. That's funny. When I perform, I'm in bands and have been forever. That's why I do all this. When I have performed and have done, I'm about to ask you the next question. What's the smallest crowd you've ever performed in front of? But when I've done 1 or 2 people at a venue, it is depressing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even sound good. It's too hollow.
Yep.
But yeah, when it's been a sold out show at Shuba's and it's 300 people, I'm
so fun.
You can't even see anyone past the first 30 people, and it ends.
And also, I want to do well in front of 5 people as much as I want to do well in front of 500 people.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. So
numbers really don't intimidate me as much.
I agree. It does get worse the less there are.
Yeah.
Anything under 30, it starts to get weird.
Yeah. I go, oh, this is going to be fun if it's if there's more people here, because the ratio then helps you too. If more people may find me funny. So, yeah.
Yes.
That helps.
So what's the smallest crowd then you ever?
I mean, I
few people.
Even last Wednesday at the Vixen, there were 15 people there because it started snowing and it was so windy and crazy and it was really bad weather. So yeah, very small. At the Lincoln Lodge, if you've been to the Lincoln Lodge, 5 people in a room. Sucks. It sucks.
I've never been to a comedy show that small because I've done comedy at this brewery.
It really ends up not being a show.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's a half-assed open mic is what it is, what it becomes. And it's so awkward because then it's those 5 people feel so obligated to enjoy you.
Yeah. Eyes are on them.
And you're
you're staring at them.
Yeah. And then the comics are such assholes and then they just start picking on, and I go, stop, they're here and they don't want to be here anymore because there's no one else is here. And I've been one of those, because you just what do you do in that situation? You work with what you have, and it's 5 people who are now resentfully sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to give you something, even though it's so awkward and so it just doesn't feel cool anymore. Those are the worst.
I
always
love
feel
when comedians like pick on
you like
me.
it.
Or, I don't know why people don't.
You like the crowd work? Is
yeah,
what
the
you
crowd
like?
work, or if they're even at me, anyone. Like, it's not.
That's funny because a lot of people don't like that.
I don't know why people care. It's like not. It's
You're
this
like,
is really
the setting
happening,
for it.
but this isn't real.
No, none of
You
it
know what I mean?
matters. And also, nothing that you say really, like the audience member says, really matters. It's all on. It's really on the
Yeah,
comic.
you can't get out of it.
No,
especially if they're really good at it.
Yeah.
If like how I'm dressed right now.
Yeah, you'd be ruined.
Oh yeah, and I would laugh
Yeah.
too because
Yeah.
guess what? My whole life I dress this way, and I either do get ruined or
Yeah.
people love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so either way, I'm always having eyes or someone say something.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's either negative from friends being funny.
Yeah.
Or it's usually like a barista or an artist tends to be like, "I love your cardigan."
Totally.
So like whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. People take themselves too seriously.
That's good. Then you're a great audience member.
I love it. I've been around it a lot, and I think it's hysterical. I think it's so funny. And when people get upset, I think that's even more funny.
Yeah.
Like they're like angry. We're telling like you can't say that. It's
I know.
like
I'm like,
what?
you showed up to the show.
And never say that to a comedian. Like
It's
when
so
people don't
crazy.
realize where they are,
Yeah.
and they're like, "You're an audience member. You don't have this skill set. You don't do this every
You
night
have no
like
idea
they do.
what you're talking about.
You can't just go in there and tell someone who does this all the time,
Yeah.
hey, you can't do that. Oh, what you just sent off.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when they do that too. I'm like, oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Get torn up.
I know it is fascinating.
It's fun.
It's such a sight.
Do you do you interact a lot with the crowd?
Because
I know it's a skill.
I have been told. So I have a really good friend in comedy. She's like the same year as me. She's truly so much better than me. She's so much better than me. She's so much better than me. She's such a good, strong writer, which is what I noticed in her. And then she would tell me, she's like, but you're not afraid to talk to the crowd. You're not afraid to you're like very loose and like very free and like you're able to start shit with the crowd. And she was like, I'm learning to do that more. And I was like, hilarious, because I'm learning to do what you're doing more. I'm like building my set because I realized like, wow, it is really nice to have a set, something to fall back on when that crowd work.
Because the crowd work doesn't always work out.
Absolutely not. I've made myself look like such an ass doing crowd work. Such an ass. I go, I'm so sorry.
Do you have like any specific moments where you're just like, I can't believe that I said that, or they got me, or like the crowd actually gets you, you know?
There was this one really bad moment I had at the Vixen, and it's because it's like my home base, so it's like I can kind of do whatever I want there. And I didn't host the show a week before the one I was currently at because I had another show, and so I just let my friends host it. And so I went on stage, and all they did, and this is like a returning crowd that knows me. It's at this point, it was like almost I had been running the show for 3 years, a little over 3 years. And all I had done, I got on stage, hey, everybody, how are we doing? Happy Wednesday. And then I was like, so how was last week? Did we enjoy like the host? Like I was truly just getting a pulse check on the crowd. Mm-hmm. And then someone in the crowd goes, say something funny. And I was like, hold on. I'm asking because I run this show, and I'm asking you who was here last week to see if I should keep having them host when I'm away. So shut the fuck up for a second. And I wasn't funny. I was not funny. I got so immediately mad for some reason. I snapped on him, told him to go kill himself.
Whoa.
I know. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing. And then the manager who has seen me since I had started there came back and he's like, are you okay? When I got off stage, he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I just did up there. And he was like, I have never seen you so actually mad on stage. And I was like, I don't know why that bothered me so much, but because I think it was because I actually wasn't even trying to be funny. I was sincerely like being a producer in that moment and just being like, how was it? Did I book the right people? Can we like give me some feedback? And some assholes and he was already drunk too. That was the thing. He was an asshole and he got kicked out shortly after because he would not stop talking and just like shouting out and whatever. But I did not keep my cool. And even my manager was like, or my boss, not my manager, the manager was like, I've never seen you react like that. And I go, I don't know what just happened.
Sounds like he needed to hear that.
Maybe.
I don't understand.
It wasn't cool though because I should have been funnier about it. But I really wasn't trying to be. I was like, how was the show? Mm-hmm. And he was like, something funny. And I was like, give me a fucking second.
It's true though. When you are trying to be serious,
Yeah.
and people like antagonize you or make it worse or
Yeah.
aren't helping, it can be.
Well, and
I've
also,
snapped a few times.
I'm the
too.
host of the show. I'm the person who runs the room and books the show. Like, I just like don't, especially at this point with running that show so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to keep this running. It's like I'm not really here to show off my talents or skills. Like I'm going truly. I wasn't even really going to do a full set. I was just like, I go in, I say hi. At this point, 3 years in doing the show every single week, I'm basically like, hi guys, you all know me, right? And they're like, yep, we know you. Show us the next comic. And I'm like, great, I'll do that. Like they're like, we don't care. Get off the stage, Stephanie. Like we know you. And I truly, I've like had to reprimand the crowd before where I'm like, you guys know better. You guys know better. All right, be on your best behavior tonight. Like I've truly, like I've said these things because they're like I've built an audience that shows up almost every week.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
You were the first person working there to start the shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing though.
It's like my baby. And so it's like I tell the crowd, and one time my dad and his sisters showed up, my aunts, and I was like, do not embarrass me in front of my dad right now, you guys. You guys have to be a good audience. And so like I'll talk, like I'm very comfortable with them like that. And so I think that's why I ended up just being like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I run the show. I'm here every night. Like, fuck you guys. Like, be cool. Like, you should know. And he, of course, was like, it was like his first or second time there. So he just was a dick. And who knows? He's never come back. So
it's always a drunk person.
Yeah.
I saw Louis C.K. at the Chicago Theater 2015, a while ago. Before everything went down. And he was great, but he made there was a heckler in the crowd.
Wow.
He made them turn on the lights and stop the show until security kicked him out.
Wow. Yeah.
It was funny for like one moment.
Yeah.
And then it went on too long. And I'm like, we're paying this money to see this guy.
No, exactly.
And like at that kind of event, could you imagine that someone at that level, like
you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. That is such like a prestigious place to want to heckle at one of the best comics in the world. Who do you think you are?
What do you think is going to happen?
You're so drunk. It's go home. You're embarrassing yourself. Yeah.
Every time I hear them, like, those are the people that probably shouldn't drink.
But those are the people that do drink.
That do drink too much.
Miserable. Yeah.
Whenever someone has to blame it on alcohol, and it's a reoccurring thing, you're the story we hear about a person that can't drink.
Yes.
You don't hear those stories about me.
No.
I can drink.
I can drink.
I'm sorry. That's just the way we're built. You can't.
Yeah.
It's always something with you.
Yep.
It's never anything with me.
Right. I don't have a problem.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm the nicest, most quiet drunk you'll ever meet.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I'm responsible. Like, wait, I got to drive. No, I'm not drinking today.
Yeah.
Like, it's that you have to be that way.
Yeah.
It's not a joke of a thing.
Yeah.
And it can ruin concerts. It can ruin comedy shows for real can get botched and ruined. And if you're at a nice big venue with a seasoned comedian's been doing it for 20 years, you're in trouble.
Well, and that's another thing is like, comedians can do crowd work, especially if there's a heckler. They can shut them down. But then a lot of the time, like comics are there to actually truly work something out and figure something out. And their brain isn't prepping to do crowd work.
Yeah.
Like you're not mentally going into the set being like, I'm gonna destroy this heckler. It's like, no, I'm gonna like tell these jokes and like figure it out on stage and like say it the way I need to say it this time instead of last time. And so that's where your mind is when you're on stage. Your mind is not about to go destroy this heckler. You pray to God you don't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people understand the art form.
Yeah, they think you're just on when you're on stage. It's like, no, I'm reciting material and then hopefully being loose enough with it to like make it sound natural and like being able to play with the room a little bit.
You're finessing it. You're like tasting the soup as you're eating it.
Yeah.
Do I need to put more salt or pepper?
Yes.
Like you're literally doing. It's the same thing when you're playing music. It'd be so bizarre what in the middle of a song for someone to like shout out something. Like you're trying to figure out you're making mistakes. You should admit them to the crowd. I always have to tell musicians this. I hate when they do that. Don't make a mistake and then announce it to the crowd. Oh, sorry, we messed. Don't let most of them, they don't know.
It's so funny.
Don't tell them.
That's like the comic version of like when someone tells a joke that they've been telling for a while and they go, that was a new one. It's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Joke just bombed for whatever reason it did tonight.
I know. It's fun it's fun learning as much as I have about comedy and the art form when I do see a stand-up special. Like I was watching one last week on Netflix, Anthony and Jeselnik on Netflix. It was funny, but he was like, oh, last week. I'm like, that wasn't last week.
Absolutely
You
not.
wrote this joke. You're on Netflix right now. There's no way it was last week.
Nope.
It was years ago.
Yep.
That fun.
Yeah.
It's fun though because I didn't know that growing up. I thought that everyone was making up as they went.
I know. I used to, yeah. I never thought about that they were making it up as they went, but I just thought it was so much more natural than it actually is.
I didn't know about the working it out at clubs, doing mini tours. I had no idea. I was like, oh, they just like, they're funny people.
That's the reason why I thought comedy was like impossible and out of reach. Because I would watch like Bill Burr, Louis C.K., John Mulaney, Stephen Wright, like even the old dogs, like, and I would be like, I could never do what they're doing. And I'm like, yeah, no, shit, you couldn't. They're like almost 20 years in and they've perfected it and they've done they've been in awful places. They've told awful jokes. And like, I just couldn't comprehend, like, I really thought it was like a drastic, like, you just have to be naturally funny leap to Netflix. Which is, I'm glad I figured it out.
That's insane if that's how it works.
No, but that's really, I was like, I didn't watch enough like local comedy or like smaller level comedy on YouTube enough when I was younger. Like I know like some like smaller whatever, but at the time they were like smaller and younger and whatever. But I really thought it was like you either have to be Bill Burr level to do comedy or you can't do it at all. And that's not the case.
No, it's not the case. He's great. I enjoy him. I've seen him a few times too at the Chicago Theater.
Oh yeah, I need to see him live.
Oh, it was.
I just saw Dave Attell live.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Where?
The Den. So it was like an intimate.
The Den Theater?
Yeah.
I've recorded there before.
Really?
I've recorded artists there. I've made
beautiful
videos
theater.
there. Yeah,
great theater.
That's so cool. You saw him there. It was great. I bet
he's my number one live. I think he's incredible live.
He's amazing.
He's so fun and whimsical.
Of course, you would play the Den Theater.
Yeah, no, and as you should, and it works so well for him in those size rooms. It was so cool, and he was doing a bunch of new stuff from his, not from his. He just did Hot Cross Buns, and it was new stuff that wasn't on Hot Cross Buns.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that stand up social was hilarious.
Yeah, it was so good. But even live, I'm like, I would rather see him live than watch him, watch a taping, and I would rather see a Louis C.K. taping than watch him live.
Interesting. Why is that?
I don't know. Dave Attell live was so entertaining, and Louis is, I think, and I've seen him live twice. One at the theater, Chicago Theater, and one at Rosemont Zanies.
Okay.
And great, incredible show, nearly welled up, but there's something about Dave Attell that is so fun to watch live. Louis is like a master watching, and you're just like, I was like in awe the whole time. But Dave like made me like stupid giggle.
Yeah, like you run out of laughter, you take a dip.
Yeah.
Then you get a second wave, run out again, and then maybe like that happened when I saw Bill Burr. That happened where there was 20 minutes where I wasn't laughing because I ran out.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like sick, my stomach hurt.
I know.
And then it came back again. I had to like rejuvenate.
Yeah. No, it's a real thing of like when the comics say like they're tired. I'm like, what does that even mean? And I go, oh no, that's a real thing. And also, laughing out loud is a hard thing to do. It is not necessarily even a natural thing to do.
No, it's weird.
And on command after, just because someone says like, what are you talking about?
It's exhausting too.
Yeah.
You're like constantly contracting, and your stomach starts to hurt. Yeah, and you're like, stop.
That's one thing you like as doing comedy. I have to like keep in mind. It's like I don't laugh out loud at everything, but I still think it's funny. But then you do laugh out loud at something, and you go, no, that's what's funny. Like that's actually funny. So. It's incredible. Laughter is incredible.
I know.
Laughter is so insane.
I could see why comedians do it, because when I get a banger of a laughter from my students, because I'm always trying to do comedy for my students, because they're like Gen Zers who are like numb and stuck on TikTok, and
Gen Z is impossible.
So my students are brutal. I'll walk into a class of freshmen, like 20 kids. Like, what do you guys do this weekend? Any concerts, shows, parties? Like, I'm handing it to them on a silver platter, and they're just staring at me. And I will get up on speakers and start doing push-ups just to get them to like,
oh no,
and nothing.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow, I'll do a handstand and walk around. Nothing. Like, oh, you could do a handstand. Like
some of my younger cousins, and like the way they're, and I'll even just see this in public, in person, of how they interact at like a restaurant. And I'm like, they are built so different. They're numb. Like they're
it's the phone. Our phones.
You cannot get them.
This did it.
They don't care. They are just like, I don't know, not really existing in the world maybe. And I don't know. I'm scared. That's crazy because that's going to be the audience soon. It already is.
It's scary.
But I don't know.
How are the younger audiences with like words, PC stuff, because they're of a completely different generation?
I don't know. That's such a good question. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know how they are.
Really soon.
I was gonna say, yeah, in the next few years, I guess.
You got to come back on in a couple of years and be like, Ben, I'm canceled. I don't know.
There's this big phenomenon with, I think, some of the current comics in Texas right now who love to say retarded, and they love to use the big bad words. And get away with it. And there's a way to do it for sure in comedy, like Louis C.K. has done it.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of it is being overused and overdone and oversaturated and in not a clever way. But then it's also like so cool and rad when someone says retarded on stage for some reason right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Not necessarily in Chicago, but definitely like the Austin scene has done that too. Comedy.
Yeah, that's odd.
And I think it is that like taking power back to just being able to say whatever you want to say and not being canceled for it.
Right.
And that is a huge thing, and I do encourage that in a way, but I only encourage it in a way that Louis C.K. has done it.
Clever, thought out, methodical, intentional.
Yeah.
Not just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. Like I help run the roast battle of Chicago, and we submit.
I've watched a few of the videos just to see.
I was gonna say you've Googled me, you probably know too much about me.
I actually have something funny to bring up that I found out. I Googled.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear what
Well, I was just gonna say, roast battle is supposed to be like racist and or it's not supposed to be. But sorry, it's not supposed to be. Oh no, I'm outing myself. I'm outing the roast battle scene. It's not supposed to be, but they're jokes and. They're stereotypes because that's how you make a roast joke. That's how, like, you lean into what people know as a stereotype and you try to make something creative on it, right? It's creativity. It's creativity, not racism or sexism. So we submit a weekly battle into the tournament, the league, and I would have to watch like 15 battles from all over, whoever submitted in the league. So like LA, Bay Area, Atlanta, Ohio.
Just everywhere.
Everywhere. I had to watch so many battles, and the only battles that consistently came in with those words, Austin, Texas battles.
Really?
Yeah. And they were just flinging them. Like just for no reason.
It's probably because of, well, first and foremost, Texas is Texas.
Texas is Texas.
Forget about if people didn't go to Austin. Yeah. Texas is going to be like that anyway.
Yeah.
Been there a lot. Love Texas. I get why people like it. I get why you are moving.
Sure.
But then when you bring the biggest comedians in the world who have been complaining about the word problems in the respected places they were at, New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, wherever, and you bring them to this hub, it gets exacerbated, and it's almost like a new renaissance right now. You put it all together, you have the hub for comedy, all the biggest comedians in the world, all have FU money, which is a big factor. Yeah. You don't have to worry about anything when you don't have to worry about anything.
No, right. Well, and they are our leaders telling us that it is okay to say these words. Yeah. And then so really bad comics think they can say these words.
Lean into it in a way that's not very crafty or clever.
Yeah. And I really don't think you should be offended by words, but you can absolutely be offended by them if someone is using them in like a dumb, just out of pocket way, or just to say them, just because it's cool to say them.
An intelligent way
like,
or articulate.
That's so lame. Like just like be a better comic and choose something else. Like I don't know. So that's how I feel about those words.
I agree with that. I think you should be able to say whatever you want. But there are certainly better ways to say obvious, clickbait words, obvious upsetting words, just not for the sake of doing it. It's too easy. It's an easy one. Not skillful, not articulate.
Right.
But yeah, I Googled you.
Yes, you did. Yep, I know. I know what's out there. I Google myself all the time.
I Googled you, and I saw the comedy stuff, videos, Instagram. I was like, okay. I already saw that on your Instagram.
Sure.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Then I saw this Reddit. I know you saw the Reddit. Because how could you not?
Of course.
And I was like, why is she on a Reddit?
Why am I on Reddit?
I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to snoop. I was like, come on. Yeah. She's on Reddit. I gotta find out. I don't even look at Reddit. I rarely even. I just found out about it.
Yeah,
That's
because
how much
you're a good, normal person.
I could care less about Reddit. I think all of that stuff and the anonymous, like going after people and saying whatever you want.
So
it's a
weak.
bunch of cowards.
It's so pathetic, yeah.
I can't stand it. So,
but with that being said,
I looked at
I've
it
been
and then
demolished on Reddit.
Yeah.
and I deserved it. I bombed horrifically, globally. Have you ever bombed globally for anyone to see ever on your, in your second year of comedy?
I have not.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about this video that we're about to mention.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just didn't know. I've watched that show.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. And so it was just an innocent stumble upon.
Yeah.
And
good. Just like all my family and friends have stumbled upon it too. Yeah.
It came from a place from wanting to help and promote a comedian.
That's very sweet.
But it really was funny to see. I was like, why are these people so, who is this person? I'm like, what is going on?
my fucking guts on Reddit.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And
yeah. You know what's so funny?
But I thought that was probably good for you then.
It's so
right. Isn't that sometimes how it can work?
No, yes and no.
And it's about a Kill Tony episode.
Absolutely, it is about Kill Tony,
right?
With Tim Dillon,
which is funny. That's crazy. So sorry.
No, we're both getting excited, and we both want to say things right now.
I enjoy that show mostly, and I like Tim Dillon. I think he's hysterical.
I love Tim Dillon,
and so that was cool that you got to have that experience. But yeah, I just saw it. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, she was on. When was she on? I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay. So I had to look it up, and I'm watching the episode. It's a good episode. Bad. And then, yeah, sure enough, you come on, and what they did with you, I've really never seen before. Right?
I'm special.
It was different. What Tony Hinchcliffe and Tim Dillon, like the way they it was long.
They wouldn't let me
off. You were up there forever. I was like,
I took my jacket off. I go,
you did.
I'll stay a while, I guess.
And then I don't know, it was just really interesting. But you handled it well.
Thank you.
To be honest.
Because, and you know why I think that's rooted in is
really
because I know I bombed. It's not like I'm going to be an asshole and be like, you guys are being mean. No, go ahead. It's comedy. Hit me with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why as much hate as I got, I also got a lot of praise because a lot of people have stormed off, they have thrown fits, or then they go to Facebook the next day and be like, fuck this show, fuck this guy, he's a fucking asshole, he's a rapist, they could say whatever they want about him, and I just kind of just took it on the chin and got the fuck out of there.
It was the best response you could have had. I was like, I can't wait to talk to her. Because if it went the other way, I almost would have been I'm like, oh, she's gonna be
so what's so funny is that when you ask me like some of my best sets, so those 2 jokes that I attempted to tell on Kill Tony were a part of both of those nights that I felt like I rocked the fuck out of House of Blues. Yes, those jokes were working consistently. Those jokes had gotten me, specifically the 9/11 joke, the whatever. I know, specifically me joking about 9/11. Specifically that joke had literally... One night I told it at the Laugh Factory, and I got booked on 3 other shows from it.
Wow.
So that joke
it was working for you. It was killing.
It was working so well. I told it at the...
Would you say it was killing?
Yes.
Okay, so then it makes sense that you would use it to Kill Tony.
And also because
is it because the time constraint?
All of the above.
Okay.
Truly, because time constraint.
This is a minute. For those who don't know, it's a 1 minute
Tony,
set.
Yes.
Okay.
Where, 1 minute set that you get to tell a joke. You have the time restraint of 1 minute, and then Tony Hinchcliffe and whoever his guests are on can make fun of you the rest of the set, no matter how good or bad it goes. And that is it went terribly, and so they made fun of me. And but that joke, and even after I had told that joke on Kill Tony, a few people like from Zanies who had seen me do it, they're like, "You don't tell that joke anymore," and I go, "Why? No, of course not. The joke ruined my life." Why would I be?
What was it like after that? What happened?
Oh my God.
What did you feel
dry heaved
on stage that night?
Okay, so here's what actually happened, which I've been able to figure out what happened. I didn't know what was happening when it was happening. So I was told that they start your time the second you get on stage, which I don't think that's true. And
that's not true.
It's not true, but that's what I was told. That's what I had heard. So like as soon as you step on stage, that's when they start your time. Not true. So already I'm like, I've wasted time walking to the mic and taking it out and blah, blah, blah. So I'm in my head already. And then there's a clock at the back of the wall, which is now what I realize they use for just regular shows. They use that clock for regular shows. They do not use that clock for Kill Tony. So I'm telling this joke and struggling my way through it because I'm so fucking nervous.
You didn't look nervous at all.
That's another thing. People were calling me smug. She's so fucking smug.
You didn't look smug
She's
either.
so cocky. She's so
I think
confident.
I just know how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And you just looked like you knew what was happening.
I'm telling you.
And you had some
This was me.
season.
This was me behind the curtain before I got called.
How did you know you were going to call? You're waiting and they call out your name in another place, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
waiting in a bar.
Oh my God. There's so much backstory to this if you want to hear
Tell it. I mean, it's
Cut
fun
the rest
because
of
I
the
enjoyed
first
the show.
part of the
so it's fun.
podcast. This is the juicy part.
We're still rolling. Good.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit. Okay, so this. I'll take you from the beginning. My friend Olivia and I, who was also on that episode, she was the blonde girl, the first one that got called.
Yeah.
That's also the girl who I was talking about is a better joke writer and a better comic than
okay.
me. And it shows. Kill Tony will tell
Which
you.
episode was this?
I don't know. I've tried to just. You can look it up. Go ahead.
I just didn't know if the guests to watch it.
You can look it up. I'll just.
You don't mind?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't get. No, it's out there.
You're like it's over.
I've been on other podcasts talking about it too.
Oh, okay.
Not as in depth, I don't think. But so what happened was Olivia was like, come to Texas with me. Let's do some shows. Okay, great. We're like, are we going to do Kill Tony? She's like, I don't really know. I don't really care. She didn't really know about the show that much. She was not that, she just didn't.
There it is. What happened to Steph?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, is that the Reddit one? Yeah. Dude, I'm in a thumbnail.
Oh my God.
I'm in a bomb compilation thumbnail.
6:39. Stephanie Robertson, 60 seconds, Kill Tony, 6:39.
My pride and glory goes out the window on that show.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
So we kind of are like, yeah, well, maybe we'll do Kill Tony. We don't really care. Like, it really just wasn't on our radar as like, we are going to
It's
Texas.
also like winning a little lottery too.
Well, that's what I thought because my friend gets called.
Yeah, what are the chances?
That's what I'm saying. So she gets called first. I get called last. She's the first bucket pull of the night, and I'm the
you guys
last.
bookend it out of what, like 250 people normally, right?
Way more than that.
Wow.
100% way more than that. So, yes. So she gets called, and then while she's getting called, I go, well, the night's over. She got called. There's no way I'm getting called. I truly believe this. I was like, the odds are not in my favor. There are
You
people.
got drunk.
I got high.
Oh, almost worse.
Yeah. Oh, 100% worse. If I was
So
drunk,
you were stoned for that?
I was high. I was so high because
Oh my God.
because
That's amazing.
she goes up there and I go, she's probably killing it. It's going to be great for her. The night's over. I'm holding her coat.
Yeah.
I'm like, go get it, girl. And I'm holding her coat. And I don't know anybody in
And
Texas.
where are you waiting when she goes up?
We're at the bar next door.
Next door. Okay.
I don't remember even what
Is there
the
like
bar
a stream to it or something? Are you guys like watching it as it's
No, you can't. You have no idea who's
So
the
you're
guest.
just waiting?
You are in a bar. That is
Wow.
the end. That is all that it is.
Okay,
You are in a
okay.
bar, and someone over an intercom calls your name, and that's it.
Wow.
That's all that it is.
That's great,
You
though.
don't know what's going on. You don't know who's the guest. You don't know anything.
And you, sorry, keep
And
going.
I'm standing there with her coat, and one guy that we had met standing outside of the mothership open mic, and we had like chatted with, calls me over into a circle with door guys from the mothership. So I'm like, cool, yeah. You want to smoke? Yeah, I do. Of course, I want to smoke with you guys. And in my head, I was like, it's over. Like, she got called. Why would I be called too? That's crazy. People move here to be called on Kill Tony, and they wait years or months or years to be called. So why the fuck would I be called if my friend just got called?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm smoking now. And she gets off stage, and she's elated, right? Because her set went very well. She got asked to do the secret show.
And she did it?
And she did.
That's awesome.
And she doesn't really know what Kill Tony is. She's like, I didn't realize how many people would be out there. I thought it was like more of like an open mic. I go, girl.
She didn't know when she signed up for it?
She really, I mean,
think
she
to Google it?
vaguely, no, and I showed her a video of like what it could be, but it was like, it just didn't translate to her, I guess, of what like it really was. And so she's like, I did so well. I got the secret show. I got a big joke book. And I go, dude, this is going to be huge for you. Like, I'm so happy for like, you don't understand what this means. Like, you're going to get so many followers. I'm like hyping her up. I'm so happy for her. I'm high. And we literally leave the venue. We go drop off her stuff in the car. We come back like the night to me for my chance on Kill Tony is over because we left the venue and my name could have been called. We like weren't thinking about this at all. We come back to the venue just because where else? I'm like, we're just hanging there. She's talking with people. People are coming up to her and being like, great set. or not great set. They're like, how did your set go? And she's like, it went well. It went well. And so now she like breaks me off a little microdose of mushrooms. And I don't know.
Chocolate or?
Yeah, a little chocolate.
Okay.
It was very small. Who knows if I was
But
actually
still.
microdosed or what. I don't even know. I think, honestly, it helped.
It might have.
Me
It might have kept calmed your nerves too.
Stay high. Like, I don't even know if it was about nerves. It was more about just like my demeanor of like feeling pepped up a little bit, which I think helped being on that stage. So whatever, we're chatting, we're talking. I'm telling her how great this is going to be for her. She's going to get so many followers. I'm like truly so happy for her. I don't care that I didn't get on Kill Tony. It wasn't on our radar anyway. I also knew the gravity of the show, so I was like kind of a relief that I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We're leaving now, like almost. I know, dude. Almost
Kind of
2 hours.
relief.
Yeah, almost 2 hours have now passed.
Yeah,
and
it's a long show.
It's they were holding us in a bar that's different from the bar they currently hold you in. So there was like this lower kind of outside level. So we were like kind of listening, but also just talking and like just talking about the rest of the night, like what we're gonna do. And then we're like, yeah, we haven't really heard any names like being called. I think the show's over. We truly just had no idea. We grab our stuff to go leave. I'm walking out the door and my name gets called.
Oh my God. And so you had a little bit of mushroom. You smoked a joint, I'm assuming.
And I get
no
high
alcohol?
easy. No alcohol.
Okay.
I get high there. I'm a one-hit wonder. I don't have to smoke
okay.
much. I
I'm
don't
like a
have to smoke.
3-joint wonder.
Oh, no. Like, I can smoke 4 hits and be like, I'm good, thank you. And I truly am. I'm very high.
So you're high. You think you're leaving.
I think the night is over for Kill Tony.
So last set.
And I get called. I hear Stephanie Robertson, and I go, and both we look at each other, and I'm like, oh no. Like, oh no. And
You're like one of the only people to say, oh no.
I
Most people are
know.
probably,
And
like,
that's also why Reddit hates me. She didn't prepare. She didn't take this seriously. She got an opportunity of a lifetime. She fucked it up. And I go, well, yeah, but kind of, but no, but also, yes, you're right. And also, but
this is a chance. We'll have to send this to Reddit
yeah,
to
no,
clear
for
the
real.
air.
I know. Well, some Reddits have like linked to some of the podcasts I've done, but now I do feel this is a good podcast to like find out, because I'm a little more removed from it than I was when I had originally done podcasts about it, because it was like fresh still, and
okay.
I was still very wounded over it. I was very wounded.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you walk on stage.
Yeah, I go.
What is happening when you go outside that curtain and you see the crowd? And you see who's on the panel.
Yes. Well, but I knew who was on the panel.
Oh, how did you know?
Also, because Olivia told me.
Obviously, duh.
Olivia told me. Also, fun fact about all of this, and also another conspiracy on Reddit, is I know Tim Dillon. I met Tim Dillon. He was at the Vixen.
Oh.
I shook his hand, said, hi, I'm Stephanie Robertson. He did a show. He was like...
this before or after?
Before.
Okay.
He didn't recognize me or Olivia. Olivia and I were both at the Vixen with him and our friends. So,
I mean,
like,
why would he? I mean...
He doesn't care. And
well,
also,
he just tours the world.
And also,
he meets a million
he's
people.
a gay man. He doesn't care about women in the room. He doesn't.
That's true.
He really, like,
That's true.
Even Olivia, with being such a good comic that she is, he did not care.
Yeah.
Who cares, right? So he didn't recognize her or me on stage. And I wasn't about to bring it up like a fucking loop. Be like, Tim, you know me.
Yeah, it doesn't
You were
work.
at my
That's not gonna
venue.
go
Nobody
well.
gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And so I actually knew him before. So it was like, I wasn't like nervous to perform in front of him or whatever. And also I had seen him like ball bust with my friends. So like, it was honestly kind of like, I was like, oh, thank God it's just Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
But also to the world, it's not just Tim Dillon.
No.
Like, it's like, he's like one of the best comics right now
Yeah.
who people like thoroughly respect and appreciate and hang on to every single word of his. So, when he's on Kill Tony, he gets so many views compared to some other guests.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he
Lucky
does.
me.
Yeah.
And
when
yeah.
I saw that it was his episode, I was like, oh, I even thought, I went through all the
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, in even just the numbers alone from that episode, there are like I said a little bit, there are bomb compilations with my
Oh, my God.
body
Which
on the
even more
thumbnail.
number is it?
Yeah, 4 million.
Your body?
Yeah, I'm the
4
thumbnail.
Oh, my God.
It's me on stage being like, "Wah." Yeah, just me like freaking out because I'm an idiot.
Thank God you can laugh about it.
I can, and I mean, it was a rough year this year, to be honest. Like, it was bad. I mean,
because
like,
of that?
Because
I'm sorry.
oh no, it's okay. It is funny, and it's
I don't know whether to laugh.
You can do both.
I almost cry sometimes because it's so funny. It is funny.
It's People
That's
will,
why I like the show, because
Yeah.
you're not the only person this kind of stuff happens
Yeah.
to, you know?
Well,
Yours is a little unique, I will say.
Yeah, because
they did that whole, they kept going.
They kept going, and then they also allowed me back.
Wait, yeah, so did you go back?
No,
Why?
because
We'll get to that.
yes. Well, okay, so right.
Wait, you walk out. You're on
So I
stage,
walk
Tim
out.
Dillon, Tony Hinchcliffe,
Tim Dillon's
Ryan
playing,
Red Band.
Brian, yes.
Who else was there? Anybody else? Just those three in the band?
Yeah, I think so. I don't. Yeah,
And then
not
a
that
packed,
I even.
sold out crowd, I'm sure.
Yes, packed sold out crowd who hated my guts. And but yes, so I start telling. So I'm backstage. I really hadn't mentally prepared what joke I was going to tell because I really just thought it was not an option. I just was like, I'm not even going to get called anyway. Who cares? That's why I'll sign up. To at least say I signed up, right? And so I go, well, this joke has been working. This stupid, quick Noah's Ark joke has been working. It's also one of the worst jokes I have in my set. Okay?
Noah's Ark. Every joke
So
about
dumb.
Noah's Ark is
Bad. It's hack. Yeah. But I go, so then I'm running through the jokes in my head. I have some jokes about my dad, which I was not about to tell on that national, global level.
international.
Yeah. Sorry, not just national, international level. I was not going to do that. And those are some of my stronger jokes too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want those jokes just to be in anybody's hands. I want to have those jokes on my page if I ever do post them. Which I don't think whatever. So I was like, not gonna do that. And then I was like, I have like 2 of these jokes that in retrospect would have absolutely worked. Obviously 100% better than what I did tell. And then I have a period sex joke, which people were like, why didn't you just tell that one? It's your closer. And I go, yeah, but I didn't want to be the girl telling a period sex joke on Kill Tony. So I had just like, and this was all within that moment of deciding behind the curtain of what I was going to do. Because they take everything from you. They take your notebook. They take your phone. You can't have anything on you. So it's not like I can text someone and be like, call someone really quick. What do I do? What joke? Just tell me what joke to do. What do you think? Because in anybody's mind is working better than mine is in that moment. Because I'm so out of my fucking
Stoned
mind,
as well.
high and nervous.
Yeah,
and
very
and when
nervous.
I'm high, I don't smoke very often too because I am a paranoid high. I do get in my head. I overthink. I'll cry. Like I don't do it. I never smoke before shows, ever.
Yeah.
I hardly even drink before shows. So I'm very, very sober when I do shows. Not the case for Kill Tony. So truly like just the worst combination of everything possible.
It's amazing though.
Yeah.
You can turn this into something.
I know. Well, and I kind of have. So anyway.
It's an amazing story.
Thanks.
I think.
I'm glad you think
how
so.
else can you look at it?
Yes.
Who else gets to have literally this kind of story?
Everyone has told me like this is a part of your story now.
Yeah, it is.
And it's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, well, you try living it. and you know what's the worst part about it is people try to tell me, but I've bombed. You have not bombed like I've bombed.
No, your bomb
is mega epic, big global bomb.
It doesn't really get more. than that,
this
to be
is
honest.
like that. You can show your students. Do you want to know what a bomb looks like?
Yeah.
And pull up my video.
I do Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and stuff.
Yes, 79 Kill Tony.
See, I should be a comedian.
You should. You can. I'll have you open for me.
That's the only joke I have. I have 10 seconds of jokes. And it's just making fun of you.
I do that. And of course, after I bombed, I had, and all the comics in the scene know and see it and hear about it.
Oh, of course.
And so I go, well, you have to own it or you have to like hide from it. And I feel like I've done both in a way. But I would own it at like open mics. Like I would make fun of myself. And so this one open mic I went to pretty close to after the bomb, it was a 3-minute mic, and I was just like, I looked down and I was like, that's kind of all the jokes I had to work on. And then I was like, how much time do I have left? And they're like, a minute. And I go, well, we all know I can't do a minute. And I got the fuck out, and that got like the biggest laugh of my set. So like I made fun of myself in that way. And then like there have been some mics that I've went to book for my showcase. So I'm kind of like judging the mics, which is like an insane thing to do or say because you should never judge an open mic. It's an open mic. But it is also a great way to pull some new talent out, you know? So I went up at the mic and I go, like this guy, Nathan, who runs the Comedy Cabin, shout out Comedy Cabin up in Janesville, Wisconsin. Comedy Cabin, he was booking his room off of this mic and he's like, come up and just, if you want to look for some people for the Vixen, because this is the suburbs, like rural suburbia, like they might be able to play to your room. I'm like, okay, great. So I hosted the mic and I'm like, I just want you to know, like, we're not judging you, like this is still an open mic, do new stuff, do old stuff, do whatever you want to do. We're not judging you. I was like, God can't even judge you. Really, the only person that can judge us is Tony Hinchcliffe. And that got like a huge laugh. And because like everyone knows like I'm referring to.
Yeah, what happened?
So.
Has anybody ever said anything to you, like unprompted? Ever? Anywhere? Anything weird?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like at the Dave Attell show, I was out in the lobby and someone was like, said hi to me and my friend Chris because he like knew that we did Roast Battle. Chris Grieco's the other producer of Roast Battle. And he was like, I saw your Kill Tony set. And I go, yeah, I bet you did. So did 7 million other people. I'm like, you're not special for seeing my set.
You know, it's funny. I didn't. I found out about it in a completely roundabout way.
I hope.
I'm telling you the truth. I literally found you on Instagram. I was like, oh, comedian.
Yeah.
This is great. And then when Lily reached out to you first,
yeah.
you agreed, and I go, well, I should probably find out more about this person. I'm not doing a background check the way that you're doing it to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing it just to get a better idea of like
what questions
stuff.
to ask.
Yeah, just like your life.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that popped up, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And went further, I was like, oh my God, this is hysterical.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I don't know, good and bad have come from it. I got a lot of attention from it. I gained a lot of followers who I think, some didn't hang around because I did not do the redemption round within 6 months.
Yeah, so what happened with that?
I just wasn't ready mentally. I was kicked pretty hard by that. And because I care so much about comedy and I'm like, I should have been able to do that. I should have been able to just tell a fucking joke because there are people that go on that show that tell even worse jokes than I do and they can still get through the set and have it kind of just be an average overlooked set. I'm like, why couldn't I just have an average overlooked set? You know what I mean? I have those all the time.
That's my life.
I do it all the time in Chicago.
Yeah, I see your point, yeah.
And, you know, and then reading the comments online.
Don't read them.
I read all of them.
Why?
Because it's fascinating.
Don't read them.
But it's fascinating because you don't really get to hear people talk shit about you.
Oh, I guess.
I know it's like kind of a demented way to look at it, but I'm like, wow, like these are opinions of people, whether they're valid or not. Like you never really get to hear like what people think about you. Like actually, like you only get to hear like, yeah, he's a good guy, whatever.
But it's not truly actually because they don't actually know
100%.
you actually weren't
well,
there.
And it's also just fascinating to read how
insane people are.
How insane people are. And how just like a moment in time, people think they can like define you.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way they were calling me smug and cocky, and you even said confident, that is actually not what I look like when I feel those things. If I was confident, smug, and cocky, I would have had a good set. I was nervous beyond all belief. I was unsure of myself. I was unconfident. I felt like I wasn't deserving to be there because I had not prepared.
Yeah.
And so I felt all of those things. But of course I knew I was being watched. So I just put on that like, tell a fucking joke. Like be just,
I mean, you handled it well. You didn't snap or anything. You didn't break.
Like the 10 minutes in, and while I was taking off my coat, I was like, all right, here we go.
How long were you up there?
It's like 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is like 10 more minutes than most people.
That's why I couldn't believe it because at first when I saw that on Reddit, I was like, oh, she just did like a set.
Yeah.
But then it turned out, I've seen the show a lot. It turned out to be a completely
it wasn't just a set. I know.
Like,
it was.
They've never done anything like that.
I know. He told me how to write jokes. Like he told, like, and that was like another point in the moment where I was like, okay, you're just like shitting on me. You're calling me like a cat lady. Like, I'm like, okay, well now give me constructive feedback if that's how you like truly. So like that's why I interrupted him and I was like, okay, so what would you have done to the joke then, Tony? And I think that's maybe what made me look smug. But I was like, well, no, if you're gonna like tell me to come back in 6 months, or actually he hadn't announced that yet. I don't think during the set or show, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean to look smug. The smug thing actually got me more than people just saying I'm unfunny and I should go KMS. Like,
really?
Yeah, because I was like, that's not me being smug. And also, I'm a very rarely smug person on purpose. Or not on purpose. If I'm smug, I'm doing it as like a bit or a joke or like I'm trying to like, you know, bust balls.
Yeah.
So like when someone is, she's so smug, she thinks she's so much better than she is. I go, oh God, if only you knew me. Yeah.
That's the weird thing about commenting on the internet. First of all, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone does. It's not real. Either. I don't get it. But when someone is and they have to give their 2 cents, I can't take them seriously at all. I just, the more I see it, the more not to sound rude, I just start to see more of a loser. They're just digging themselves like
I agree.
You're doing anything. First of all, how would you react in this situation? And that's another thing. I always say, like, well, that's why you can't read them. They're talking about something that you're actually doing while they're not doing anything. So who are they to say anything? And that's why you should pay no mind to anyone if you're doing the thing.
Yes, and that is why I can read those comments and still
not kill yourself.
Yeah. That is truly why, because I know that. But it does suck to know that like people have perceived me in that light and like in that such a like a lack of skill and talent in that moment. But also, so I tell all my friends, I call them like, okay, so oh my God, the night after was
Wait, you leave.
So I leave.
You leave the stage.
So you get kicked out the back and you're in an alleyway now. So because they offered me the redemption round, I get off stage and you have to like go down this hallway, down these stairs, and people who work for the show are down there and they're like, okay, they want you back on in 6 months. Let me get they take a picture of me. They take my name and phone number down. And I go, is this serious? Like, I'm like, what just happened? It was like I had been in a car accident. I was like, what just happened? What just happened? I kept asking the guy. I was like, what just happened? I could not stop saying it. I was like, was that real? Was that serious? Why does he want me back? I was dazed and crazed and I couldn't understand reality at this point anymore because I was like, I just bombed. Why does he actually want me back? Like, why would you ever want me back? And the guy's like, I don't know. I'm just getting your information. Like, chill the fuck out, lady.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. And then they give you these stupid fucking toys, these like Nerf gun things. So now I'm just like, okay. And then they give me your phone back. And so I call Olivia and I was like, come out to the back. And she was like, okay. And so she comes, she's like.
So she has no idea what happened.
No, she's like, how'd it go? And I was like, I don't know. It was bad. I don't know. It was so bad. But
were you crying?
He asked me, but no.
No.
I was in such shock at this point.
So confused.
I was so confused. I was in shock and I couldn't explain to her that I did so bad that they want me back. Like it
doesn't make any sense.
I didn't know how to articulate
I
that to
wouldn't
her.
understand that either if you said that.
Yeah,
to me.
and she understood that I was not happy and that I was upset and embarrassed. And so she took the toys that they gave me and threw them in the dumpster, like, because we were in an alleyway. So she was like, let's get rid of these. You're not taking these home with you. So she threw them in the dumpster. And then we were standing outside near the mothership and it was starting to let out the show. And so then people on the street like started coming up to me and they're like, hey, you were on Kill Tony. Dude, that was so funny. That was crazy. That was so like, and then Olivia's like, see? And I was like, no, you don't understand why they're saying it's funny. I was not funny. They were laughing at me. Yes. And then they would look over at her and be like, oh, you had a really good set. Like, so it was like, you were really funny and you had a really good set.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's different. Like, you don't understand. And then so I was like, Olivia, people are coming up to us. People are coming up to you. You should go and bask in this. Like, go to the mother, because she had friends at the mothership. Go hang out. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to our Airbnb.
Yeah. Wait, was it just you two there in Austin?
Yeah, it was just us. That was, but she also, Olivia had made like former connections and kind of has friends. She has like two really good friends in Austin. So she went back to the mothership to go hang out with them and have the night of her life.
You just did not want to do it.
No, because
of course.
And also, oh my God, I said so many dumb things and like they sexualized me so much on the show. And I also said things to sexualize myself. So then some of the comments that people were like coming up to, they were like asking me out.
Oh.
Yeah. They were like, do you want to like get drinks? Like, do you want to?
That's the problem, you know. That's the problem with that.
Yeah.
With the internet, especially under the context of subject matter.
My DMs flooded.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Over hundreds and hundreds of DMs.
Are you serious?
When it came out, yeah.
Did you read them?
Oh yeah.
All of them?
Still to this day, I get DMs. I could show you my phone right now.
I'm sorry I DM'd you.
Yeah. Hey, at least it wasn't about Kill Tony.
I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I truly, again, I'm glad I'm a grandpa and I live under a rock. I don't pay attention to the viral stuff. I don't pay attention to like nothing. So I miss this stuff. I would never know for anybody if this happens. And if I find it does happen, I refuse to look at it because I don't want to engage. And like, say that came up in my face and was like, dude, check out this chick who just bombed. She sucks. She's this. I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to feed into that. Yeah. She probably has enough to deal with. I'll move on to something that's real.
Yeah. I just got a DM like last week saying, did you bomb on purpose? Because like you're not that bad. And I go, I know. And that's another thing. I posted some clips recently and some roast battles recently where people are like, oh my God, wow, you've improved so much, Stephanie, since your Kill Tony episode. Like, good for you. And I go, no, this is literally, I'm the same person. Like, I'm the same talent that I was before Kill Tony, and now I have not improved. You just saw a terrible moment from me. Like, I didn't do anything. I'm not different than when you saw me on Kill Tony. I'm not a better comic after Kill Tony. I'm literally the same comic. You just saw a bomb, which you don't get to see from comics in general like that. At least not that horrific of a bomb.
Yeah.
So, that's just funny. They think Kill Tony has like improved my life, like improved me as a comic. And I go, no, actually it's done the opposite. It made me like almost stop doing comedy for a whole year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty rough.
That's why, yes. Oh yeah. I was like,
and again, as a woman, the sexual, it doesn't work the same with guys.
No.
If all that would just be funny. Whereas with you, it could get weird.
Yeah,
they go.
Get scary. Literally, they go, you bombed on Kill Tony, but I'd still hit. Like, they say shit like that all the time. And it's fine. They're idiots and they're losers and they typically have wives and girlfriends. God. You can go to their profile and it's like at the like apple orchard with their wife. I'm like, you're a loser. You're a loser.
Like, I could screenshot and just send it to her.
I'm like, let me ruin your life for a second.
That's another thing too. When you watch a video, good, bad, and the ugly, you're only watching a clip of reality in that moment, in time.
Yeah.
And like, that's it. It's not the best representation of what a person is.
No.
That's just like a couple minutes of your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're not aware of that, and you're gonna go out and say stuff and comment, then you're not aware of like that's how life works for everyone.
Yeah. Then
you're dumb.
Yeah.
You need to go out and educate yourself a little bit more, maybe experience life some more. That's how it works.
Right. Or don't and just keep hiding away because you are a miserable person anyway. So that's like truly my experience. I've definitely made it to the other end. I feel like remotivated in comedy and
good. Like, I'm glad we were able to bring all this pain back up for you.
Yeah. No, it really isn't. And that was another thing. So after the set, I'm like dry heaving. I'm calling all my friends. I'm crying. I was like, you guys aren't even gonna want to associate with me anymore. You guys aren't you're not gonna be my friend. Kid in school. No, literally, I was like, no one's gonna like me anymore. No one's gonna want to do my show. Everyone's gonna think I'm a fucking phony and a fraud, and that wasn't the case at all. No, but if you're a comic, you know that show sucks in a lot of ways.
It's not ideal for
comedy.
Like, it's not ideal for comedy.
They don't set you up for success on that show. But that's also why it's so impressive when someone does well on that
Exactly.
show.
I think that's the point of it. It's a certain kind of comedy.
Yep.
It's its own...
Yep.
Yeah, it's its own thing. It's like...
my boyfriend actually just crushed on it.
He just did it?
Yeah.
Really? When?
Early November.
That's why you want to move there.
Yeah, I go.
1 week later, we're moving.
Yeah, I know.
Was it last year this happened, right? Last December?
Almost a year ago from today. Yeah, it happened like November 27th or something. Okay. Yeah.
So, after that, you're like, I'm not moving there.
No,
and
they hate my guts.
He does it, and you're like, I guess we're moving.
Well, so he does it. He's already there. He's moved and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. And he absolutely murders. He grew from like 3,000 people on Instagram to like, I think almost 13,000 now.
Wow.
And that happened like overnight.
Wow. That's crazy.
He's so funny.
What's his name?
Peyton Ruddy. Peyton Ruddy Comedy.
Peyton Ruddy?
Peyton Ruddy.
Oh, I said Payne Ruddy.
Payne Ruddy. That's funny. That would be his comic name if he was a black comic.
How do you spell that?
Ruddy. He's a very, very funny. He's a funny person. And I'm not just saying this because
I bet internet. I'll get
that's okay.
Cool.
Peyton Ruddy Comedy. So
Congrats
funny.
on doing well on that.
He
Peyton.
did so well. He like, oh my God, everything. It was a complete.
Which episode was it? Was it the
Chris Stefano?
I watched that one.
He's the one where they're like, you haven't even sweat. He's like, I'm a professional. He's like, they're like, how'd you get here? He's like, I roll. Or how do you get around? I roll. He's like overweight.
Oh.
And they made fun of him for being fat.
I think I remember that. I don't think I watched it. I think
Black Lives Matter joke.
Okay. Because I just saw he's funny. I like him. He's hilarious. Chris Stefano.
Yeah, Chris Stefano offered him a spot at the shows he was doing. So now he like tours around with Stefano and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, also, but
That's so cool.
And also, it's also so funny. More Tim Dillon connection is my boyfriend was opening for Tim Dillon like months before I did Kill Tony.
Did you know him already, your boyfriend?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been friends since I started comedy.
Okay. That is so funny.
Yeah. So then he was touring with him before, and then after. He gets a few more gigs with him in the new year of 2024. So this was in 2023. So he tells Tim that he goes, you know, that girl who bombed on your episode? And Tim, of course, no fucking clue what he's talking about.
Of course.
Truly, and that's another thing. They're like, Tim feels this way about her, and Tony, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't give a fuck
First
about
of all,
you.
Tony, 50 people like that every Monday, plus the millions of people he sees every day he tours,
Meaningless to
plus
him.
walking down the street he can't. You
And
know what I mean?
And that's the thing that kind of sucks. It means
stuff.
so much to me right now, and it means nothing to them.
Yeah.
So
right.
So my
That's just
boyfriend
how it
had
is,
to
though.
really jog Tim Dillon's brain and remind him like of that moment. And Tim just laughed and he goes, "No, like that's your girlfriend." Like, no, he was just like, "That's hilarious."
That is funny.
It is really funny because my boyfriend's so much funnier than me. And he's been doing it for like almost 7 years too. So
okay, that's a big difference.
It is a big difference. I watched my boyfriend's clips of him 3 years in, and I go, "You sucked. You were so bad. You were like trying to like imitate what you thought comedy was."
Yeah.
And now he's his own person, his own voice.
Yeah.
He's so funny. But yeah, so that's why I go, damn, like this is my 3 years in. And my boyfriend was even like, it really sucks that like this is your experience right now. Like because it hurt. Like it sucks to bomb.
Yeah.
It sucks to bomb, and then it sucks to bomb in front of millions who have access to it any time of the day.
Forever, and they can keep
they can make their own content out of it.
You can't even get it to go away.
No. So and that doesn't happen to most comics.
No, it doesn't most people.
Yeah.
Most people have no idea what that's like.
Yeah. So he's like, I feel so bad for you that like it happened so early to you, that something like this happened so early to you, and it's like giving you a bad taste in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, it has, but also, I'm fine. Like it's fine. We're fine. I'm like, I'm very excited. I'm doing some fun shows and
make you stronger.
And it has. It really had. Like now I will say though, for a while there, I like wasn't trying anything new on shows because I was so afraid I felt like I had to revalidate myself and be like, no, I'm funny. See, I can do a whole set. I can have these jokes. And that's what I was doing for most of this year is like sticking to the set, playing it safe, and just making sure I was having a good set. I wasn't trying new material. I wasn't even really writing a lot this year because I just was so like just shaking it off the whole year. I was just shaking it off. And it was even like hard to go to open mics because more than anything, you bomb at open mics. So I was like shying away from that, timid to do that. And then, but now I'm back. Now I'm like, I don't really care. I don't care.
Now you're back.
I'm back. And I've had some like good clips go out recently that help validate me online at the very least, where people are like, oh, she is actually good. She is actually funny. She can actually tell a joke. Not even, I don't even really care about if they think I'm funny or whatever. I just care that I can tell a joke.
Yeah.
I'm competent enough to tell a joke. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And you just didn't want to go back the 6 months later. So you just don't reach back out.
Also, my car got stolen.
Oh.
and when I was living in Lincoln Park.
Oh, wow.
The second time, actually, my car got stolen.
Your car has been stolen twice?
Yeah. My car had been stolen last year. And then...
What kind of car was it?
A Hyundai.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
They've had huge problems. It happened right in front of my house, someone's car.
Yep.
A Hyundai.
Yeah. They love them. They can't get enough of them. Them and Kias.
Yep.
So, yes, my car had been stolen like on what would have been the 5th month up until my 6th month redemption. So I was like, I need to work now. I have to work and get my car fixed and back and functioning.
Did they find it?
Yeah, they find it every time.
Oh, because they have trackers in them?
No, because they just dump them on the side of the road in the morning.
Yeah, joyride or
Joyride,
something.
they go on a little criminal errand run.
Have that car get screened on like
by
the
iPass.
city iPass and cameras for speeding, they can't get caught.
They just ditch it in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah,
they usually do.
They found my car. They found my car.
Was it damaged?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. The exterior was they ripped the handle off to get in the door, which is a new method because the last time they cut the window out. The first time they cut the window out. The second time they ripped the handle off the door.
Cut the window or smashed it?
It was like in a hole. Like, it wasn't broken into pieces. That's how I realized. I thought my car had been towed from my street because I wasn't paying for a permit. So I was like, oh, my car got towed. That sucks. And then I was like, and then I realized, I was like, oh, that's the window to my car.
You were just winging it on the permit?
It got stolen. Yeah, they never checked the street.
Huh. Ours, they check all the time.
No, yeah. I would get ticketed. I've been, for the 2 years that I lived on that street, I was ticketed maybe once.
Wow.
And it was like $60. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna pay one. I know, it's so shitty. I'm such a bad resident of Chicago.
You're a bad citizen.
Yeah. I'm not doing my part. So I was like, oh, my car probably got towed because I extended my stay here too long without the permit.
Extended my stay. You sound like a lawyer.
I overstayed my welcome.
That's a white collar way of saying you committed a crime. I extended my stay. I'm sorry.
My stay. It's like, no, you were squatting. Yeah. So I thought that happened, and then I realized, no, my car had been stolen because there's my glass where the glass window where I was parked. So the second time, they hadn't damaged the exterior, but they had roughed up the car so much so while driving it that apparently Hyundai's engines will seize if you're driving it erratically. So that's what happened and I know that's what happened because my car ended up not even being towed away because it was stolen. It was towed away because it was called into the police station as illegally parked because they had just left it in the middle of the road. And it just got out. Them. Yeah, it died on them.
Wow.
So they ran out. And so then a cop came by and ticketed me for $100 for parking my car illegally. And I had to call him and I was like, didn't you see the door handle was missing and that my car was on the inside? Like, it was ruined on the inside. Like, they had like gotten their shoes all over the seats and like had obviously the ignition was like broken off and whatever in pieces. And so, yeah. So I had to yell at the police department. Also, do you want to hear a crazy story about that? Okay. I don't know. We've been here a while, but I don't know what you do with these podcasts. I don't know how long
I just delete them, actually. Yeah. I upload them to Reddit, see what happens.
Yeah, I know, for real. I know. I was like, why can't Reddit go to my Instagram now? Come on.
We'll get them there. Yeah. We'll get them there. Reddit.
Come on. Check out my new videos. I don't know. My one clip it's a very mid clip, but whatever. So my car had been in the shop for like 3 months after it was stolen and found and recovered. And I thought the city of Chicago knew that because I had taken it from the impound. And so I thought someone was going to write that down at some point. In the shop for 3 months, I finally get it back from Oak Lawn, Happy Hyundai in Oak Lawn. You guys, by the way, because...
I don't like it either. I grew up right there in Oak Lawn.
Okay, yeah. So Happy Hyundai, you know exactly the one next to the Hooters.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm driving my car out of their lot, and my steering wheel is completely this way, driving straight. So the alignment was, I'm like, you guys didn't check the alignment?
It's like 90 degrees off. Yeah.
You guys fixed everything else in the car except for the alignment and the wheel, like, and then so I turn around and I drive it back in and I go, can you fix this? And they kind of like look at each other like I'm not in on a joke or something that they just told. And they're like, yeah, we'll be able to fix it. And so I go, great. And I'm like, how much longer will it take? Like 30 minutes. Okay, fine. And then I get a call 30 minutes later. They're like, actually, like our lift system is broken. And I go, you guys must have known that, which is why it's not fixed. So I don't know why you guys are like dicking me around. That's why I was like, they're like laughing at me for asking if this alignment can be fixed. Why are you laughing? I'm like, that's a pretty standard thing to do with a car. So I had to drive this car all the way up to Libertyville, which was like
way far away,
an hour north.
Yeah. There's no other Hondas around?
No. Not ones that could see me like immediately. Because also all these Hyundais are packed with stolen cars, fixing stolen cars. I couldn't get the first time I got my car stolen, I was rejected from 3 Hyundais because they're like, we literally just cannot fit you in because we are fixing so many stolen cars.
What does Hyundai do for you guys for this problem? You get money out of it, insurance?
I mean, insurance covered everything.
But like,
not for
as
money,
a
though.
billion-dollar company, what are they doing for their clients that give them their billions of dollars?
Laughing at us. I don't know. The city of Chicago sued them.
Good.
I don't know where that's.
Whenever that's it needs class action lawsuits.
Isn't it crazy? I know.
Yeah.
So,
and you should as an owner, you should get money for it, for that headache, not just insurance that pays for it.
It's such a headache. Oh my God.
The stress, the headache, the pain, Yeah, it's scary.
It's like I have a way of life and a schedule, and it's because of my car.
Yeah, and you gave them your money. You're buying their brand.
I invested in your car.
Yes, they should take care of you especially when you have that much money. These are not small companies, you know.
No, but they don't care.
No,
and Chicago doesn't care either.
No.
I even asked the police when I called it in the first time. I was like, it was stolen right in front of my house. Like I know the other house has a camera, like facing the street. Do you want me to like get? And they go, no. This happens all the time. It won't make a difference.
Every day.
They're like 300 cars are stolen a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe you guys should do something about that.
Well,
you would think. Sorry, you would think. So anyway, so I finally get to pick up my car in Libertyville. Finally, my car is back in my hands. I have to drive up to Wisconsin, to Door County, Wisconsin, for my dad's birthday weekend, and I'm with my brother, and we're driving up. And I am on my best behavior while driving. I am not on my phone. I am not eating.
Mushrooms,
I'm not on weed. I'm not rehearsing a set. I'm not doing anything.
You're not listening to Kill Tony.
I'm not listening to Kill Tony. I'm on my best behavior. Nobody even knows I'm there. And I'm just driving. And there's traffic. There's like cars in front of me, cars behind me. So it's not like I'm speeding. All of a sudden the lights go off behind me. And I'm like, am I getting pulled? Is that for me? I'm like, my brother Steven. I'm like, Steven, are they pulling me over? And he goes, I think so. I was like, what was I doing? What's wrong? I'm getting pulled over. 4 more squad cars line up behind them. They're yelling at me now from their vehicle to get out of mine. So I have to put my hand out the door, open it, and then back up with my hands up to them who are all pointing guns at me.
Oh my God.
And and also I'm like, I didn't do anything fucking wrong. And so I'm literally like, what did I do? I'm like, what did I do? What is going on? What did I do? And they're like, ma'am, you are in possession of a stolen vehicle. And I was like, no, I'm not. It's mine. I'm like, no, I'm not. This is my car. And they're like, 1 second, this might be a mistake. This might be an error or whatever. Hold on, we're looking into it. But they still made me get down on my knees and handcuffed me and put me in the back of a squad car and searched me. And it was all because the Chicago PD did not do the paperwork to tell the rest
release that it's not stolen anymore. Yeah.
So I like had a gun to me and I got placed in the back because Chicago didn't do their job. So and then they were like searching me and I was I knew I was gonna be in the car for like 4 or 5 hours going up to Door County. So I was like, I don't know. They were like, do you have anything on you? I was like, I'm not even wearing a bra. Like, I don't know what you want from me right now. And while my brother's like being searched, like with his hands on the hood of the car. And my brother was like, I thought I was going to find something out about you that day. He was like, I thought I didn't know something and that you were like, I was going to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
you're a murderer, serial killer.
Yeah. He's like, what? He's like, you're not actually a comedian. Like, what are you doing? That's why you're out late at night.
Did you cry?
Oh, I was bawling because
you always get that one.
I know.
It's always the win you have. It doesn't. First of all, it won't work if you're a guy.
No.
It's way worse if you do it.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's hard to even muster it up because you're almost like, well, what's the point in crying?
Right.
This isn't going to do anything.
No.
So you can't even emotionally get there.
I think
to cry.
I even told the cops, I go, I think I was so stressed out by the whole car situation as a whole over the past months that I told them, I was like, this is just the cherry on top. Like, my car has been stolen. I'm like, you don't understand. I just got it back today. And I like couldn't, I was just so like hysterical because I was so pissed because I was like, Chicago is doing nothing to help. And I'm like, got my car stolen. They don't give a fuck. They found it. They couldn't even mark it in their system as not stolen anymore.
Gave you a ticket.
Gave me a ticket that I had to contest.
Yeah.
And and then like I'm like, you couldn't even just like with your knowledge of just experience be like, this car was probably stolen. Maybe I shouldn't mark it as illegally parked. No, they have to. They have to. I'm like, come on. And so then they were like, do you have any questions for us after uncuffing me? And I was like, yeah, can you like tell someone that it's no longer, can you write a memo down next to my license plate or something in the system? And they're like, no. I'm like, can you call Chicago, like the precinct or whatever? And they're like, no. They're like, we can try, but it'll probably just be as hard as us to get a hold of them as it would be for you.
I don't believe
that.
And
I was like, don't you know a guy?
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
And so they go,
they don't have their own system of getting hold of each other, police to police for important things, but a civilian can do it? Come on. They just didn't want to help you.
Right.
Because were you in Wisconsin?
No, I was in DuPage County.
Different county, different city.
They don't give a fuck.
No. You're not in the same, unless you were in Chicago, so they're like, well, we're not, that's not their monkey, not their circus.
So they were truly like, yeah, this happens all the time. Chicago doesn't do their paperwork. And I go, okay. So they were like, this might happen to you again on the way to Wisconsin. Just be prepared.
Oh my God. And
So
accidents happen that way.
Yeah.
Police get trigger happy and hurt or shoot people
I truly was like,
that are innocent.
this is white privilege. Because they probably would have thought differently if I had different skin color coming out of that car.
And lady privilege.
Absolutely.
Because I've had so much fun with cops.
Yeah.
When I dress nicely, they treat me well. When I cut my hair, they treat me well. When I trim my beard, they treat me well. When I had a nice car, they treat me well. When I did not treat me well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Treated poorly. When I had long curly hair and I didn't comb my beard.
No, you fucking hippie.
Oh, yeah. That's what they said to me.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. When they thought we'd get caught trespassing in a forest.
Okay, yeah.
As teenagers, but I never drank. I was always sober. And I did that on purpose because I knew when I was doing illegal stuff, I'd probably going to get away with it because I'm sober.
Yeah.
But police don't believe you and don't care at that age. And I looked the way I did. And they handcuffed me. I've been arrested a few times. Handcuffed, thrown in the truck or the car. And then it was wet and I slipped. When they opened the door, I slipped trying to get out because I couldn't hold anything because my hands are cuffed. And they're just like, you drunk fucking hippie. Like, this is what you get for drinking, you hippie.
Really?
So, yeah. I was like, I don't smoke, do psychedelics. I said this to him, or drink. So I'm not a hippie by any definition.
Wow.
And I'm not drunk. And they wouldn't believe me and they were treating me poorly. They put me in a separate cell and made me wait there all night. Because I kept telling them I wasn't drinking. I don't know. They just didn't like it.
Yeah, no. They pick and choose for sure.
Yeah. So, if you're, the ladies always, they don't care.
I have a feeling that's kind of why they made me stick my hand out the window to see my skin tone.
Well, that maybe
and
the
for
gun.
Well, yeah, but also I had to open the car door in a certain way with my hands up anyway. So I'm like, what does this matter?
Yeah.
Because I had my arm out the window and then they're like, open up the door. And I was like, okay, so I opened up the door with my hand out the window, but then also I still could have easily grabbed a gun.
Yeah.
I could have easily done that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also my brother was in the car.
Right.
And they didn't make him do that.
Ooh, maybe you're onto something.
I don't know. It was a lot.
And this led to why you never went back to Austin.
Yes. Sorry. Oh my God.
I just realized, how did we?
The car. There was so much drama with the car. That's honestly not the excuse, but that was a big reason why I was like, I just need to take care of myself and my priorities and get my mind right again.
Yeah.
Because getting your car stolen feels super violating.
Yeah.
But that is not why I didn't go back to Kill Tony. But I did message the producer and I was like, hey, I just got my car stolen. I really need to work. I need my money back. I lost so much money on the rental car, the transportation, and just having my whole schedule be messed up. So I was like, I want to come back, but I will not make it back in the 6 months. And he just goes, okay, that's fine. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
The fans care. They don't care.
So are you able to reschedule and go back?
Probably. Yeah. And if I move down there, I'll definitely do it.
That's awesome.
I just don't, what the real issue was is, when I started to try to write again, I was only writing for Kill Tony, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
No.
And it made me not want to write anything ever again. And that's what a lot of people do that move down. They have a minute prepared, and then they have no other set behind that. Which is where I am is I have the opposite of that. I have a set that I can do that it's not exactly perfect for a minute.
Yeah. How much time do you have? Are you working with them right now?
I can do... I recently headlined one of my friend's shows, and it was 25 minutes.
Oh, nice.
But I will not say it's the strongest 25 minutes. It's not a 25 minutes that I want to headline everywhere with. It was truly just kind of hey, go try it. Go try and see if you can pull off 25 minutes. And I did. I felt really good about it. It was a very nice, generous crowd, I think, because we all had a fun time on that show. So, but I would say my strongest is 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah. I'm when someone asks me to do 10 minutes, I go, perfect. No problem.
I like that. I like a solid 10, 15-minute set.
You don't need them longer than that.
I've seen people at in the levels that you're at, between that 3 and 7 year mark.
Yeah.
Do an hour or so.
Not necessary.
It was terrible.
Nobody needs to be doing an hour.
It was bad idea. They just weren't. That takes way longer.
If you tell me that you are 5 years in with an hour, I go, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. Your hour isn't an hour. It's not a real hour.
It's a one in a billion can do that. There's like a Eddie Murphy or something. Truly 1 in a billion.
No.
It's the same thing with like, oh, how long you been in a band? Like, oh, like 3 weeks, and we have an album. Be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how's that even possible?
No,
What do you
it's not.
mean you have an album already? It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
that's why when people are like, how much time can you do? I say 10 because I know my 10 is strong. And if they need me to do more, I can. But like, I know it tapers off. It weakens somewhere in the middle and at the end and in between. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I'm very aware of that.
What's your process? Like how do you go about doing it?
Like writing.
Yeah, writing, executing.
It's truly different because sometimes things like a line will come to me and then I kind of work around that line. And I'll sit down and write it out. Like I recently just came up with a joke to almost it's a full joke alone, but it's technically a tag to the larger part of my set. And I like came up with that like in the car sitting outside of a show. But then also I sometimes just sit down and write. And then a lot of the time it's you have like that kind of weak premise and then you go on stage and then you riff a little bit and you go, oh, that line was funny, I'll save that. And my writing process is not quick though. I'm not a super strong writer and mainly because of all the like imposter syndrome. I go, that's not funny. Why would I? There are some times where I will write something out and then I will be like, that's not funny, don't even bother with it. And then I'll see someone do something at a mic almost same like level or like idea and they get a laugh by it and I go, I'm so easy to throw things away.
Yeah, just do it and see if it works.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of working it out, you know?
I'm too tough a lot of the time and that really like deters a lot of it. And then also with the Kill Tony thing, I go, nothing's funny anymore. Nothing could ever be fun. Nothing's good enough for a redemption. Because that's such like I put it on such like a high pedestal for like the half of the year or the 6 months leading up to it where I'm like, nothing I say is funny enough. Because it's a redemption round. And that feels like a lot of pressure, but also
more pressure,
Yeah, more pressure. So it's like something you have to really come in strong with it, which really made me not like it took the fun out of writing anything new. So that's why I'm not worrying about that right now.
Yeah.
When I have the minute that comes to me, I will go and do it. And I just posted a clip recently that's 36 seconds that would totally work on Kill Tony, but I don't think it's like, I still don't think it's like good enough.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure that did a number. Pretty crazy. I've
Yeah,
never had that
when
experience.
the whole world is telling you that you're not funny.
You know what's funny? Some people want that experience. They want the whole world to know who they are, to see them.
And I'm not like that at all. I'm not an attention seeker in that way.
Right. Like if the little things happen in organic growth
and
because
I go, wow,
you put in the
that's great.
work.
I'm glad someone saw that.
Yeah.
I'm never out here being like, duh, look at me. I'm the class
Can you
clown.
believe people do like
Yeah, I know
all
people.
day, every day people do it.
I know those people.
Yeah.
Some of those people are my friends. They are.
If any of my friends are like that, they know how I feel about it, and I will say it. I will give them crap right to their face.
We do.
You have to.
You have to.
It's weird though. It's so performative. It's so exhausting.
Yeah.
It's so fake.
I know.
Like, do you not see the longevity that you don't have in doing this?
It's so funny that like, because I have friends outside of comedy, obviously, and then they'll come and hang with my comedy group, and they like are always so intimidated. They're like, I feel like I have to be funny. I have to be like, and I'm like, no, like we just talk to each other. Like we're not actually on all. Like no one's ever on all the time. There are some people. Like one of my really good friends who's a really good writer. He's on a lot, but it's like in his own. It's his personality. It's not like he's like faking it, but or like forcing it necessarily. But it's just funny. It's like comics aren't necessarily funny all the time. They aren't. Like we're just talking.
Right.
We're having a
It's the same thing when
it's exhausting.
musicians.
If I was trying to do bits this entire show,
Oh my
and
God.
you would just have to be like, it's awful.
Just sitting there fake laughing.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah, I tell it to musicians when I'm hanging out with people. They're like, oh, you record and work with so many bands. Like, I'm probably not good for him. It's like, it's actually the opposite. Because I've worked with so many, I don't have a preconceived notion of like what I think should be good or bad. I actually am open to everything.
Yeah.
And I like all genres and all styles. And I even am more patient now knowing like, oh, you're just at this stage.
Yep.
Like, oh, you don't sound bad at all. Maybe practice this and that, but you actually are onto something. Instead of me being like, oh my God, I can't believe you can't even like sing that. Like, wow. That's something people think at the beginning when they're amateurs, not when they're experts or professionals. You don't think that way.
You understand that it took
time,
time
the
for
craft.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. How long? What time is it?
It's one. Whoa.
It's 1:20.
Is your
You've been
camera
talking
still
for
going?
2 hours and
That's
20 minutes.
Crazy. Yeah.
I know, right?
Well.
Anything else you want to?
No, I feel like I've said it all. I've said too much. My digital footprint is fucked.
Why?
Because I'm on Kill Tony. Because I'm on bomb compilations and I'm
glad it's not my fault.
No, you're the least of my worries. Yeah, I do think about that, about like the digital footprint is so, I really think, this is my last thing I'm saying. I feel like jobs and 9-to-5s and like companies that care about your digital footprint, unless you're like actually doing something terrible, jobs should have to stop caring about your online presence.
Yeah.
And I get why they do, and I get there are reasons why they should, but like, and not that I haven't even tried to like get a 9-to-5 again.
Well, it's because you have that podcast about white nationalists.
Right. But that's what I mean.
Why do they care?
Right. But that's what I mean. I'm like, unless it's something like that, then it's like, why are we being deterred from a job? Like one girl got rejected from a job because they said her profile was too sexual, which really just meant like she just had like hot pictures of herself on her Instagram, and I'm like,
or something.
Yeah, I'm like, why can't you get a job?
What was the job?
I don't know, but it should not have been a job where she was rejected from.
Right.
But it was a company that just like cared that she was too sexy online, and it's and she's not, like, she is very gorgeous and sexy, but like her content should not have deterred her from getting a job. So I don't know. I do think about my digital footprint and how I'm out there. I'm out there now.
Yeah.
And it's something your students should keep in mind.
I try to tell everyone that. When I think about what I did, I'm about to be 35, and I have nothing from my past on the internet, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
Not because of it's illegal or bad. It's everyone, and I'm not the only one. All humans did illegal and bad and dumb stuff. They still do, but it was a lot worse under 18 and 15 and 12. Why would you ever want that stuff out there? And what's even more important than that, now you're not existing as a human being in time and space. You're doing it for the plays, the reels, the whatever, the likes, which is not going to be good for you anyway.
No.
But to record that stuff, I always tell people, don't do it. Don't
No.
put it out there. First of all, nobody cares.
No.
And you're going to end up hating yourself and shooting yourself in the foot. Just have your parents tell you their old stories.
Yeah.
And look at their face and how happy they are that stuff's not documented and it's just their word against the world's.
Exactly.
It's a great way to live. When you be like, I don't know, it's just what we did when we were 18.
Tell your students
I don't know.
about my bomb.
I will.
And how it changes people's perception of you, and like it made me look like a bad comic, and in I don't know. I guess the interview didn't really make me look like a bad person.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
I think that's also why they offered me the redemption round, because they could just tell I was like, yeah, all right, I bombed, I messed up, my bad, sorry guys, and they were like, it's okay, come redeem yourself.
Yeah, you held it well. You didn't try like stammering off or like meandering to try to like win it back over.
Yeah.
You know, you just were like, oh, okay. They said try another one. You're like, okay, like you. You handled it very well. Some people could have stormed off, freaked out, killed themselves. I mean, the list is long of what people could do.
Yeah.
People have killed themselves for less.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, I tell people you don't want to be famous. I have never had happen to me what happened to you, but I have had people do weird stuff about like take my podcast and all the videos I've done and make their own weird video out of it, where they're like making my mouth move and they're like talking to me like we. Oh yeah. So
what?
And it doesn't have the 10 million views around the internet that yours has, but the fact it exists and it's on a public YouTube channel and it's by some strange person. I have no idea who it is. I never met this person. They just made it, and they have me like talking to them and talking to other people, and like they have it to where like I call their phone and my name pops up on their phone, even though I don't know this person. Yeah, weird stuff. And I showed my students it once because I kept hearing them say how they want to be famous, they want to go viral, and I'm like, you want to see what? Just a little bit of popularity. I'm slightly popular. I'm not I'm not famous.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not unknown. And I'm like, see what a little bit of popularity after you've been in the scene and doing work for 15 years, what people can do with you.
Oh my God.
And I'm not a woman. I had nothing sexual, and it was so creepy.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I'm like, luckily I'm me. I'm not a small person, and I'm a girl. I'm not a girl. I'm not afraid this person's going to do anything.
Right.
But if I was it's so weird.
It's so freaky.
It's so I'm like, this guy is so weird. Like, who does this?
That's so weird. What was the point of it? Do you know what
he was talking about
was?
how I created a cult and it's dead now.
Oh, someone sounds bitter.
Oh, it's so
Did they
weird.
not make one of these lineups? Is that why?
I have no idea. All I know is I'm like, imagine if you're truly popular and famous, and especially when you get to being a woman who's in that world, they could do some weird stuff.
Even seeing comments about Tony and Joe Rogan, people are insanely mean and crazy about them and to them and the things they say about them. I'm like, and that's another thing where I go, like, okay, it's not like it's anybody. It's just the internet. That's just the internet.
That's why at a certain point you can't look at it, listen to it. One of my favorite and most fortunate interviews I got to do was with the producer Steve Albini, who I love, and he made a bunch of music that I love. Mm-hmm. But the comments are almost like 99% terrible.
I know.
Because he requested that, it was in February 2022. He requested that if I wanted to do it with him and go to his studio, that I wear a mask.
Mm. Oh, yeah. The one you sent me.
Yes.
That's what I was like, why does that name sound so familiar?
He's 62 years old.
Yeah.
And so he's more likely.
People are mad at you for wearing a mask.
Oh, all the comments. Instead of like, wow, this is a great conversation. Like, an older, really world famous producer's talking to like a younger one who's been doing this for a while, and they're both in Chicago, both involved in DIY scenes, have a lot of similarities.
Insane.
This is kind of cool. Instead, it's, why do you have those dirty diapers on your face? Why you guys are pussy? Like, why would you do that? Oh, he said, I thought he was a punk rocker. These are cowards. And I'm like, you guys are saying this from your basement about two people who are actually doing the thing. Yeah. Like, do you not see how this looks?
It's so pathetic.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
And then, that's nothing compared to the video comments I'm sure you saw. I can't even imagine how many comments are on those videos.
Oh, yeah. A lot
thousands,
of them.
tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything you want to promote? You want to talk again? Maybe tell the location of the show you put on?
Yeah, so I do a
Vixen?
weekly Wednesday show at the Vixen. Yes, every week. A weekly Wednesday show at the Vixen at 8 p.m. Yeah. And it's in McHenry, Illinois. And it's fun. It's free. You can bring your own food and eat there. It's a very, it's just a fun time.
Yeah.
The comics go there and they try stuff out, or they try the really good stuff for you guys. It's like, it's a free-for-all room. It's loose. It's it's a good time. And you get to see a lot of good talent coming from Chicago into the suburbs, which the suburbs don't get very often.
Yeah.
You have to go to the city to see talent. So we're bringing the city to you. But then I also run Chicago Roast Battle the 1st and 3rd of every Thursday at Zanies in Old Town.
I'm going to go check that out.
Yeah. Hit me up whenever you want. I'll get you tickets.
I would love to, yeah. Thank you.
And then once every Sunday at the end of the month. So the last Sunday of the month, we go to Rosemont for the roast battles.
Zanies in Rosemont?
Yeah, so there's a Zanies in Old Town and a Zanies in Rosemont. So we play to the suburbs and the city for roast battle. And then what I actually want to plug is my boyfriend's, he's doing a Peyton Ruddy and Friends, and I'm hosting it at Zanies.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if you want to come to that.
When is that?
December 20th.
Oh, it's Friday. It's my girlfriend's birthday.
No! That's okay.
What time is it at?
9.
Maybe.
I don't know. You don't have to ruin your relationship for a Peyton Ruddy and Friends.
Yeah, women know that one.
Yeah.
So much better than guys.
Yeah.
Guys would be like, what? And then I'm like, a woman would be like, no, go with your girlfriend.
Exactly.
Like,
your
I would kill
birthday?
my boyfriend if he
Yeah. Girlfriend's birthday, end of story, do what you have to do. Yeah. Make it out alive.
It's funny. That just happened. Week. We were about to play a show at the Burlington Bar. Have you heard of that venue?
Yeah.
We're about to play there, and my friends of the band I'm in, neighbors, his girlfriend, it's her birthday. And as soon as he asked her, like, oh, do you want to... He, the look. She didn't even say anything. And he was like, he texted me, like, yeah, I can't play. And I knew it. No. I didn't even have to ask him why. Yep. I just sent a smiley. I was like, I know why.
Yep.
Girlfriend's birthday.
Go.
Why what are we even doing here?
Nope. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
So that's okay.
Another time.
I was going to say, there'll be more.
Yeah. Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming here and doing this and telling some fun stories and giving us some insight, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And the imposter syndrome thing, it's not real. Mm-hmm. Based on what you told me, you've been doing all the work. You have a go-getter mentality, sticking your neck out. I'll do this, I'll do that. That's imposter is like you sit there and it's just handed to you.
Yeah.
It wasn't handed to you.
That's true.
And if you do sometimes feel like it is slightly, just lean into it and be aware of it and help others then.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're getting helped out,
that's true.
Then help others. And then you can sleep at night.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Stephanie. It was great to meet you.
Oh my God. Reality.
Yeah.